Cursor 2.4 just dropped, and there's a whole bunch of great updates that have come with that release. We're talking about skills, subagents, image generation, and I've actually had my hands on this for a little while, and I've actually been able to get like a little bit of what I call like a research preview to be able to kind of give feedback directly to the Cursor team. And this is going to be our look at how I can incorporate the subagents and see if we can actually generate some live. And my goal is to see if I can ship some software. And we're also going to take a look at Ian. So Ian has become a friend of mine since the early days of Cursor. And what he's doing is something interesting that I haven't seen in a workflow. It's called a console. And so what he's set up is this technique to teach him how to do different tasks or to look through the code, and he just deploys a set of agents. And we're going to go a little bit further into how to get this subagent workflow set up, which would be really, really cool. So if you're coming from the Claude Code world, this is kind of a similar take on it, but there's a lot more power behind what of the different things you can do, because with Cursor, not only do you have access to the Opus models, which is in all the Claude models, but you also have access to the GPT models, and you can define different models and different things, similar to like if you had these different types of stuff in there. So that's kind of one thing that we're going to dig into. Ian also has a blog, and I'm going to link that also in the description. And this is called the Cursor Resources. So if you're on YouTube, you should be able to go to the description and get to this link for where he has this on his blog. So this is the actual console. And what's nice about this is we can literally click the install the cursor and get this set up inside of it. And we're also going to go a little bit over on like what subagents, like how do we configure them and stuff, and kind of this is the documentation inside of Cursor's thing. So this is going to be that there. My goal is to see if I can use these because I have an app called Ray Transcribes. And for those who don't know, this is something that I use to ship software and actually get discovered on YouTube. So a lot of my shorts, a lot of my like long form live streams, the reason why they do so well is because the actual transcripts are included inside. When YouTube does the conversion of the transcripts, it doesn't really do it that well. You'll see certain words. And so when people are typing cursor, they're not typing curse or ID or GPT, they're typing in the actual keywords. And so that's why I'm actually starting to show up. It's a little bit of my secret. I'm letting it out the bag now, but that's okay. One of the things I have is this other app called VibeStamps. So why this is really important is because once you have an actual file for like a live stream, I could just show you real quick. So like we'll take my previous live stream that I did, and I could just generate the timestamps. And so what this does is that now helps the language models understand it, like in a 1 or 2 hour live stream, what parts of the things they should be looking for. So if you talk about certain key terms in your video, whenever someone's doing a search with ChatGPT or Anthropic or anything like that, they're immediately going to YouTube and they're grabbing the YouTube description, they're grabbing the timestamps, and they're grabbing your transcripts. And so they're going to dig through that really quickly and be able to pull that information back out for responses. And so after putting timestamps in my videos, I actually realized like a huge growth in ChatGPT traffic, also Anthropic traffic. And so this tool that I made, if you just go to vibestamps.com, is currently free. I'm going to probably close down because this is costing me API credits through Google. And so I want to incorporate this into my app, Ray Fernando. I have, you can even have a GitHub star. It's open source. You can actually deploy this on your own infrastructure. I have this currently deployed to Vercel. And so I figured out the exact prompts that I needed to get these really nice detailed timestamps that are SEO friendly, but also work very well for language models and so forth. So we're going to try to pull this feature inside of Ray Transcribes, my app. So Ray Transcribes is this. I have basically the fastest transcriber on the planet known to man. So this is here. If we actually show you the video, it's 1 hour, 44 minutes. And if I go upload, I'm able to generate the timestamps for this live stream. So you can take any content you have and generate timestamps for it. So I've done a lot of techniques I discovered last year and a half or so to do like client-side processing, with FFmpeg WebAssembly and all these cool things. But then I also do some really cool stuff on the back end as far as like optimizations and things so that we can get the transcriptions going. So what's really cool about this is once the transcripts are done, you can then edit them, or then you can also create, my goal is to now create timestamps from them as well. And then you can also do speaker stuff there. So let's go ahead and see if I can get this stuff loaded up into Cursor so I can kind of show you guys while this is going. So while this is going here, once it's done processing the audio, the transcription tends to go by pretty fast. And so in here with Cursor, if you haven't had a chance to look at Cursor, I'm going to put this to the side there. I think this is kind of going there. Yeah, this is uploading the audio, and then we're going to see the transcripts done pretty much in Here's the transcript. So it's an hour. This is a 2-hour live stream, and it's going to be done in a couple seconds. 3, 2, 1. Boom. So we have that whole thing transcribed, and we have the edit file here. So now you can edit this. So I can edit any part of this type of thing. And then, you can save different versions of the edit as well, which is really cool. So you can work on this on desktop. And then this is also has the ability to, reprocess as well. So if you wanted to reprocess this timestamp, for example, like let's just say you wanted to update the dictionary with a different type of word or something like that. Like I had to change Butoshi, and then go reprocess. I can select the same model or choose different language and then start the reprocess, and it would be really, really fast. So that's this thing here. And so I want to somehow add a feature for timestamps, and I want to try to see if I can get it planned out inside of Cursor. So what I'll do is just open a new chat. And then what I'm going to do is also I'm going to ghosty. I'm going to create a new branch for this. So right now I'm currently on main, and I use Graphite for stacking. So GT sync or GT status, give me a status of what's going on. So we're currently on the main branch. And so I took GT create. And so what I'm going to do is going to call this one feature. So what I'm doing is just creating a new branch from main. And then this one's not accounting. It's going to be to timestamps. Okay. Let's see. Oops. Timestamps. Plan and create new feature. Okay. So what I'm doing is no stage changes, creating branch with no commit. Cool. So now we're in this new branch. So if I go to like Git Tower, I can show you the visual of what this looks like. So we created a new branch off of main. And so this is the main here, and this is kind of my new thing. And what we're going to go ahead and do is try to figure out a plan. So we're going to check out Cursor's like subagent tasks. So like there's subagents, and then there's like parallel agents as well. So I think the first thing we're going to look into is try to see if we can do some parallel agent like research for our plan. Or go through some question and answers. So this is a new thing that they have too, is like question and answers. So like I might just, before I go into plan mode, ask some questions and answers. So I think I'll do that right now. So I want to add timestamps to my transcription. So I want you to ask me some questions on my code base to help look through this. I've already implemented this in a different app called VibeStamps, and I'll give you the GitHub repo. In order for you to get access to this, what you're going to go ahead and do is use the ref tools MCP, and that should be available and already indexed. So that way you can grab the code from there. It's currently open source repo as well. So if you have any problems there, you can use Exacode to grab that, and I'll give you those URLs. Please use any parallel agents to help you with this research task so that we can ask better questions and understand some context. And the goal here would be to help generate a plan. Okay. Actually, I'm going to put it back into plan mode because I think that's going to be much better here. So VibeStamps, I misspelled that correctly. And so I'm going to go here to VibeStamps. Here we go. So this is my GitHub repo, just VibeStamps. Okay, this is my GitHub repo for VibeStamps. I would like to use the Vercel AI SDK, similar to the implementation there. I actually wrote the implementation for VibeStamps as a standalone site because I wanted to test and nail everything down. So that implementation with the AI SDK is great. I like the way that it kind of flows in. Obviously, the interface for VibeStamps is a standalone app, but we're going to have to integrate that output and everything into our current app right now. So that's probably going to look a little bit different. And I'm not necessarily going for the looks. This is just so you can understand what the data and how it's modeled and how we're actually hitting the endpoints and getting that data back from and submitting our timestamps. For greater context, we're doing right now is like as soon as an SRT file is generated, the user will have to go to vibestamps.com and drag that SRT file in there in order for them to get the timestamps. And so this is basically sort of eliminating that. We're putting it all back into one place. Okay, so now that we have this feature that we're sort of trying to figure out here. I'm going to go ahead and hit submit right now. So we're currently in plan mode, and we should be able to do some things. I'm going to see. So far I have $105 of free usage that I've already used up from my plan. So I already used the $400 included. And I've been doing a lot of remotion stuff. So that's been really fun to kind of burn away things here. So I'll help you with the plan and integration, and I'll get to some of the comments as well. So it's going to take a look at let me start exploring both code bases in parallel. So let's take a look at some of these things. So it looks like it's kicking off this whole new chat here. If we take a look, it's done a bunch of tasks in parallel. And so this is not going into our main context here for our chat. So if we look at our main context, we can see we still have 28,000 tokens, and instead it's spun up a new chat, which is what we're seeing right here live. And so I'm going to move this to the side a little bit. And so that's one of the explorations, was just to explore the code base and see what we currently have. So it's checking in to see what our system architecture is, what our transcription data model is, how we generate SRTs, what our current API routes are, and then how we use the Vercel AI SDK, which is we don't, and then the overall architecture just within my current app. And so here's the key files it calls out. And then now it's doing some more explorations here in parallel. So this is like super fast, which is really nice. And so this is just the parallel agents. So parallel agents, different from subagents, is just that it's accomplishing one goal with the actual plan here. And then it's just kicking off different things in parallel so that it can do those investigations. So now it's making MCP tool calls here for ref search. And then these are like further clarifying questions. So it's asking about the GitHub SRT Vercel thing. And then let me fetch more from the actual implementation files itself. And so now that it's got some of that information, it's going to check some more key files and has a better understanding of everything. So when should the timestamps be generated? Automatically after the transcription completes, manually trigger by user, button click, both or other. Okay, so I think for the transcripts, I'd like to have an option here that users can enable so that they can get the timestamps generated automatically after something is transcribed. And if they opt not to, they can go back to the edit portion there and hit a button and have it generate the transcripts as well. I think that'd be a really good idea. If we're not saving the user preferences, we should save them so that way the users won't have to always enable it all the time. And the way that I do that is wanting to do that through Convex. That way, if they open up a new browser, it's going to be synced automatically with their account. Okay, that sounds pretty good. And where should the generated timestamps be stored? In the new transcription jobs table, in the Vercel blob, along with other results, separate Convex table for timestamp versions. So the new field in the, timestamps JSON. Oh, I see. So we just pull that in. Vercel blob alongside other results, timestamps JSON URL. Okay. I want to save that in the blob because that'll be much more fast. How should timestamps be displayed in the UI? Inline with a transcript on the detail page, separate tab on the transcript page. So inline with the, let's see, I like the separate tab on the transcript page. Yeah, I think this is really cool. A copyable list. So I think other. I like the idea of a tab on the transcript page, and I'm obviously going to want the users to be able to copy it out, similar to VibeStamps. So let's work a little bit further to refine what this looks like from the user interface, and you can give me some ASCII grids or something to kind of help me understand how this could be displayed. Okay, let's go ahead and continue here. Perfect. All right, cool. So nice. We didn't even really use that much for the request, actually. Cool. Trying to use Whisperflow for iOS while you talk is hard. Oh, if I'm talking and it's like picking up on your stream, that's pretty funny, actually. Hi, what do you use for speech to text? I use a thing called Whisperflow. So if you go to https://rvr.me/whisper. So here we go. So this is actually my referral link, and this actually goes to support the channel. So anyone who signs up for Whisperflow, you could sign up and start using it. I really deeply believe in this product, and I actually did not endorse them or, I did not actually believe in them until they actually implemented some of the extra security things and privacy stuff, which I met with the founder and actually asked about and gave them feedback. Since they first started, it was like a little, not it was the littlest project, but it has grown tremendously, and they've raised funding and all that. So that was over a year ago, and since then that's pretty much won me over, and it's my preferred choice as far as like all of the different ones that I like. Their iOS app is great. I have the iOS ecosystem, and I pretty much do this all the time. There's a really cool snippet you can do, like just say like Ray Discord link. Watch, I do this. Ray Discord link, and they will literally just put the link. So you can actually generate snippets too with Whisperflow. And so if you have like signatures or links or emails and things you say all the time, that's all you have to say. That syncs to all your devices. So if you're filling out forms or something, you could just say certain things. It'll just pre-fill them automatically, which I find super valuable and I find really fun. Hey, good morning. How's it going, tech friend? Yeah, it's not morning anymore. It is afternoon. Yeah, it's super cool. I really like that. Also, good morning from Japan. Holy smokes. You guys are really out there. Good morning from Australia as well. And I'm going to be using Gemini transcription or something else. Is it on device? I think, no, yeah. I use, my stuff is actually, all of this stuff is happening on the cloud. It's really fast. And I like the database aspect of things. Okay, so this is funny because in the plan mode, it drew it in here. So transcript, timestamps, edit. I like this. Okay, that looks pretty good. Okay. Simple list with copy generate buttons or 2-column preview panel. Ooh. So 2-column preview would be this. I think the simple list with copy regenerate. Yeah. We'll try. Okay, simple list with copy regenerate buttons. So this is a little hard to see. Let me see if I can expand this out a little bit further. I can't really see this right now in the UI. It looks pretty weird. I should have said something else. Okay. So let's just do a simple list with copy and regenerate buttons, right? 2-column preview. So there's preview, simple list. Yeah, let's do that. Where should the auto-generate timestamps preference be stored? You already have a users table in Convex. Add a field to the users table for auto-generate timestamps. Yes. Create a new user preferences table and extensible for future. Yes, I want to do that one. That's the one I want to do because there's other preferences I want to store as well. And I'm probably not storing them on Convex yet, so we'll see. Cool. All the information I need. Let me go ahead and get the stuff generated. So this is the plan generation stuff. And one of my favorite features of Cursor's plan mode, and why I like this workflow a lot, is because in plan mode, I feel like it's the most comprehensive with Opus 4.5 for generating mermaid diagrams and working forth with your to-do lists. So I have a / command that we're going to use, which will actually help me implement this plan in phases. And I'm going to show you what that looks like, because this used to just be a snippet that I would say, and we would do these things. And why I like to do that in phases is because we can get a lot more detail and steer the model at any place. And the way that I'm thinking about this is kind of what I call like waterfall web development, or just waterfall development in general. So we start off with the plan. We have an idea of what these features are going to be. So when we start with that first phase and we start to do some agentic runs, it could be very tempting to just say, we're just going to put this in a Ralph loop and go to sleep. I have subagents and we're just going to go to the beach. That's probably what every YouTuber is trying to tell you right now as far as like shipping software. But I used to ship software for billions of people at Apple. And I take a very different approach. It's a little bit, more hands-on. But I feel like I want to try to get better quality results from these models right now. And so I have to be involved at least a little bit until more of this tooling and scaffolding shows up. So that's something that can help me verify results. And so the way I do that is I'll kind of get into that here, but it's just kind of splitting out the plans in phases. And we're going to test some of the stuff after it gets implemented, and then move to the next thing, and move to the next thing, and move to the next thing, and so forth. So I'll show you what that looks like. So far, let me just go ahead and do a quick architecture review. So this is my Convex backend. I have a thing called transcription jobs table, and that's going to send us the results in a URL type of thing. And I have a user preferences table. So this is going to be when the user transcript's complete. Was it auto-generate enabled? Yes. Generate timestamps. And then when it generates the timestamps, it's going to call our API route to generate. And then this is going to be, so this is something that I feel like can be done with a Convex action, because we don't have to do /API. So this is where I'm going to go ahead and update the plan. And this is why I like to review plans like this, because now I can steer it in a better direction. And then this doesn't look like it's part of the Convex backend. This looks like it's the Next.js stuff. And so we don't necessarily need a route handler for this. This is something that can be baked into Convex. So I'm going to probably give it that feedback there. And so let me just double check the implementation. So results URL, okay. So service layer port from VibeStamps. Oh, I know why it did this. Is because this came from my VibeStamps repo. And so it looked at that repo and literally just copied the same things that I'm doing there. I get why. So this is kind of something that you want to take a look at. We had a service layer to port from timestamps. So I may not need to do this. Okay, so let's go ahead and reevaluate this because the implementation for the AI service layer was done with Next.js using the route handler, but we want to actually use Convex and Convex actions. So I want you to spin off some parallel agents to take a look and see what they're doing. And you can use Exa and ref tools MCPs to help you with that, to understand how we can integrate that, as I'm already using Convex here. And that way we can even simplify what our service layer is, because we don't necessarily have to create all these files. It should be something fairly simple and straightforward, especially with our implementation. And this will help us because of the way that Convex can do things in a transactional way and can retry if something fails, or we can have stuff kind of sit for longer and wait for the results to come back and feed into the UI as it updates. Because one of the great things about Convex is that when we get a response back, everything will just stream right in and update as we get the information. Okay, that looks pretty good. And so we're going to update that plan. And so this looks like pretty cool. So it says transcript, timestamps, edit. This looks pretty cool. Copy all, regenerate. This is nice. Okay, cool. So it's looking pretty good, but we're just going to update our plan because we sort of had to rejigger this whole thing here. So let's go ahead and do that. This is awesome. So it's going to plan the next moves. Okay. I just built my first Chrome extension for my SaaS. Man, it feels good to see it work and connect to the app. This is my favorite thing about just this era of AI coding, is you can take these ideas and then start to like build off them and just try them out and put them out there. Even if it's just for yourself, it's so handy to be able to do this. So congratulations, Urban Nomad. That's so cool. Tell us the name of the app or something like that. It says Bright Air uses the best. Seriously. Cool. Hey, how's it going, Dominic? What's going on, Sterling? Welcome to the chat. Have you looked at assembly AI for transcripts? I actually have, and I'm going back and forth between Deepgram and assembly. So I might, I'm trying all of them out right now. So yeah, it's a site for now. Oh, okay. Is this the site for, so yeah, the site for my app is Ray Transcribes. What I can do is try to generate invite links so y'all can try this right now. So actually that's what I'll do. I'll make an invite link so everyone can start trying this. So I'll give you a 7-day trial so you can kind of log in and you can kind of test out the app, which would be really cool. And so in my app, I have a little feedback button. So if you go into here at the very bottom, this is a really cool component. So I'll show you where I got this component because this component's so freaking cool. It's like the version number. So when people send me screenshots, I have the version number, but it is also like a feedback chat. So when I say like test or something, it literally goes to a Slack channel and I get that feedback. And then I can loop in Cursor, and then Cursor spins off a background agent to fix the bug if there's bugs and stuff like that. So super cool, but you can also submit feedback directly from here. And this goes to the same thing. So these kind of are the same thing, which is super fire. So yeah, let me go ahead and see if I can get an invite link generated real quick. And so I'm going to go to my admin mode for the dashboard and go to settings and go over here to trial invites. And I think I still have some trial invites left. Let's see, 7-day trial. Yeah, I still have a code left. So let's see. Let's see, app.raytranscribes/trial. Invite. Okay. I think that's it. So let me see if I can get this. Yeah, 7-day trial. So there's still about like 7 invites left. Let me create a new one actually. So max uses. So I'll put another 20 invites and I'll create a new link so everyone can get on the creator plan for 7 days. Okay, let's do that. I'm going to copy this. Okay, cool. So if I go to new transcription here, and I'm going to put this in the chat. So here, oops. If you click this link right here, what it's going to do is it's going to allow you to sign up for my app for free for 7 days. So for 7 days, you can actually come on in and you can actually start using my app. And so if you click that link, it'll take you here. And the creator plan is normally 20 bucks a month, but feel free to start using it. And I would appreciate your feedback. If you actually give me feedback and it's actually super useful and I start to incorporate it, I just will give you some more credits so that you can keep testing this. And what's nice is that, you're going to try out some of the features that we're talking about to build here live. And if you're a content creator, this is super helpful. But even if you're not a content creator, I feel like any feedback, I have someone who's in education and they're using it quite a bit. And so I'm learning more about workflows that I never actually knew could actually work. And this is, any stuff to help me figure this stuff out was super helpful. So yeah, go ahead and try that link and make sure you kind of give me some feedback, and that'd be super helpful there. So yeah, that's what's up. Let's see how our plan is going right now. So here we go. I found some great patterns. So let's just take a look and see. So when I told it that feedback for what we should do, it did some research in a separate chat window, which was nice. And so our context window doesn't really get flooded with all that research. So in that plan, you can see all of the stuff that it did, and it looks like it used Composer 1 for some of this research. So that's really interesting because I have the Opus 4.5 set up, but it actually used Composer 1, I think, for this specific implementation. And so one of the things that I didn't realize is that it's going to auto select like which specific model it's going to use. So this one used Composer 1 as well. So it looks for some of the research. Cursor is using their Composer 1 model underneath the hood for some of these parallel subagents so that it can do some intelligent research. And what's nice about it, it is really fast. So that is actually something I didn't know until right now, that it pretty much does that. So that's really fascinating. Okay, cool. So it says, based on my research, here are two approaches. So for the AI integration, option A is a simple generate object recommended and matches existing patterns. And then option B is agent components, so more sophisticated. No, I think we'll just do A. So it will use simple generate object in Convex action. So the Vercel AI SDK object directly in the internal action, no streaming needed, just generate full timestamp, save the blob, update record, and the UI. Yeah, that looks pretty good. And then the UI will update via use query, and the same as the transcription flow. So follows my existing patterns exactly. I love this. This is really good. Option B is the agent component. So more sophisticated with thread management. No. We're going to go option A. Okay. Let's see. Cool. So now it's going to use continue to use Opus 4.5. Okay, cool. So that's why we were able to kick off these subagents and my cost didn't really go up, is because it looks like the subagents are using Composer 1 for the model for that research, which I find really fascinating. And we're not even like chewing up the context window like I normally do. So this is a really interesting workflow that Cursor is providing for kicking off parallel agents for research tasks, but also for me to update my plans, which is really fascinating. So let's see. Hi, just got here. I'm wondering if you tried the console skill. Not yet, actually. So this is something I'm probably going to do a little bit later here. I think maybe the next type of thing, because if you want to check this out, Ian has this little console skill. And so this will, let me put this in the chat right now. So if you want to try this, go ahead and try this. Actually, if anyone wants to try this out right now, let me know. Get dangerous with this in the chat. And so he has basically it says install on Cursor here. And so this will actually install this skill. So a skill file, let's just kind of briefly go over this for a second. So in Cursor, there's a / command and a console. And so the console and / commands, I think, are treated similar to the same. And so in order for you to use it, you can use params like n = 10 to control the agent. So use console n = 15. How does authentication work? Find all places to use this. So I say, why not do this? I mean, I don't see why we can't, right? So bugbot, fix bugbot comments. So fetch bugbot comments from the API. Okay. Iterate browser. Iterate on this current task using debug instrumentation in the browser tools. Do not stop or ask the user to test manually. Dang. Yo, my guy. Fix CI. Fix whatever we can find in CI. Figure out. He just lets us go. Bro, this is crazy. Okay. So based on a given area of interest, please dig around the code base in terms of what is given area of interest. So gather general information. So this is probably where I could have just done the console and see what could have happened. To be honest, with just one agent or one subagent that it's spit out with Composer, it did a really good job already. So find all places we can use instance geometry / console n5. So I think if you have a bigger code base like the Cursor team does, this is probably where you want to spin off some of these consoles to do more work. My code base is fairly small, but this is probably very helpful. How does authentication work? N equals 15. Getting this error, use console to investigate. Let's install this right now. Actually, let's just go install this right now. Okay. Install console. And then says, okay, create a custom command. This will create a new console command based on the Gary. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and add to home. So review this okay. Instead of adding to project, we're going to add it to home. Let's do that. Okay. So now slash console is created. If I do slash console, ooh. Okay. This is dangerous. Okay. All right. Let's just review our plan before I get a little bit over, and that's what's up. So I use Ray Transcribes, and it's fast. I mean, surprisingly fast, using it for office work. Hey, Black Swan, thank you so much for checking it out, man. Let me know, drop any feedback. I'd love to take a look and interact with you over email, and would love to, if you have a certain workflow, just tell me what your workflow is in that feedback form. And if there's anything I can think of that can help you, I'll probably send you an email and say, hey, check this cool thing out, and we'll give you some more credits as well. So why not? So let's go ahead and let's kind of get that going there. So let's just see this here. Let's see. Yeah, so the problem, why I invented this app was because a lot of people were hitting me up for the Windows version, and I didn't have a PC yet. And so I made everything Apple compatible with the MLX framework. I would load my own like local models, but there's only so much you can do with that as well, because it takes a longer time to even process those. And so, yeah, I've been working on this app for a little while and just optimizing it as I go to make it really fast. And, this is going to be the best step. And then the next step after this will be connecting my YouTube channel to this so that it can do the timestamps and update stuff back. Eventually I'll do podcasts and everything else as well, because that'd be really cool. So let's just take a look. So our plan got updated, I believe. So this is our new plan here. I've updated the plan to use Convex native approach. So here's a summary of the changes. So no next API route, all logic is in Convex timestamps, and it's going to use an internal action. So we're going to use generate objects instead of stream objects. So it's a simpler approach, and the UI just shows generating spinner, which is cool. I don't need to stream those objects down. So you saw in VibeStamps, the little, as I got data back from Gemini, it would just stream whatever data was back, and I would parse it and show a little object. I just did that for visuals, and I wanted to understand how the framework worked for the AI SDK. But here we just need a simple object. And so the object really just means here's a big blob of data, and we're waiting for Gemini to finish processing the entire set of transcripts, the entire set of timestamps, and then delivering that back. And because it's not the main feature and it's something that's kind of in the background, as soon as the transcript process finishes, it's going to send it right over. And then we're just going to show that we're like loading and grabbing those timestamps in the background. So it's going to feel magical to the user. And that's kind of the way that I'm thinking about this. And I'm liking when I just read this approach of the plan. It looks really good. I also like that it's going to use the same pattern as our existing transcription flow. So it's going to set up a scheduler to run after. And the action updates the status via the mutations, which is whenever the Convex database updates on the front end with our code, it's just going to be reactive and waiting for it. So as soon as we get some information and all the other stuff is done, then we just present that to user and it just shows up magically there, which is cool. So if you have like 4 browser windows open, they would just all show up at the same time, which is amazing. And I didn't have to write that code. It's all built into their framework. So there's fewer files to create, which is nice. And then the benefits of this approach is leverages Convex built-in retry capabilities for actions, automatic UI reactivity. Yeah, this is exactly what I was thinking. So on a button click, generate action schedules, internal actions, generate object runs, save blobs. This is fire. Okay, so this plan looks really good. And let me just go ahead and see if I can update this and save it. So I like to save my plans locally. Okay, so here's the updated architecture. Let's go ahead and review this too. So in here, now I have the Convex backend for the user preference, and I have a transcription job table and a timestamps field. So this is where it's going to generate the internal action for the ASDK, and it's going to, yeah, this looks good. I like this. This is a really nice, simple pattern. I guess not that simple, but this is the function for timestamps. So we're going to public action callable from the front end. And so if you're wondering like, Ray, why don't you just start building the app? Like I see everyone yapping and then they just start like flying code in my face. The reason why I spend a lot of time here, especially for a production app that people are actually paying for and using, is because it's important to understand the details of what goes into your software, and having a conversation back and forth with your plan is really important. So the latest 2.4 cursor update, even if you're not in plan mode, you can actually have a Q&A session. So just say, I want to ask some more questions or teach me how auth works in my repo. So it's actually going to do the same thing that happens in plan mode, but instead of generating a plan, it's just going to gather information for you. And then now we have this new / command for the console. And so the console can also help. So console, teach me how auth works or something. So you can actually ask that similar question in the repo if you're not very familiar. We didn't really have to do that because my repo is still fairly small and my concerns are very much accessible to the agent. But imagine if you have a much larger code base, you may want to start that conversation first before you even get into a plan. And so if you can understand the building blocks for how the code works inside of your repo, that's going to help you build software in a better thinking fashion. So in essence, I'm not necessarily delegating all of the entire thinking to the model, because if I did, this would have been a really ugly architecture. We would have more errors introduced because we're not actually using the Convex backend and the strengths of what Convex provides for going out to the internet and all the stuff that's really built into the framework. I would have to be we would send the agent down a whole different route, and it would just build things in the Next.js infrastructure. And we would actually miss out on a lot of other things that we're doing. So that decision here that we just made with that little fix was because I've been, a little bit more hands-on with the results and trying to really learn how Next.js works. I'm not a web developer. I have an engineering background, but I do want to learn how the language works. And you will get to this place over time. So I just don't want to, it may seem complicating at the beginning, but now we have these tools where you can actually ask questions, and it's built right in, and that's so handy because it's going to help you. The better you learn how to use the framework, it's like learning how to be a race car driver, right? All the different things you got to shift at the right timings. It will just look natural and just be amazing. So I think this is looking pretty good. So I'm just going to review the plan again. I'm a vibe coder. I think if you want to turn vibe coder to pro, this is going to be the method. And you can do that here with plan mode. So plan mode is probably the most powerful thing as a vibe coder because you can start to learn from it. Just take this as a session to try to learn. Me too. Wanted some Discord time. So Claude.bot is so cool. It's actually inside of my Discord and you can add it. It's called the YOLO bot. And so it's pretty fire. And I got that set up inside of AWS, which is really, really cool. Yeah. So, okay, cool. So let's see. Okay, so implementation details. We're going to get the AI SDK from Google, and then we're also going to get the schema changes, and then update transcription jobs. Looks pretty good. Here's the functions. Internal action does the actual work. This looks pretty good. Fetch the job and SRT contents. I like this plan. Okay, so I like this plan a lot. And the last thing I'm going to do is what I have in the / command. So I have one called phase. So in my command called phase plan. And so in here, you can kind of see what we've done so far. So we have all the steps that we need to do. And I want to make sure that we can split this up into phases so that I can also verify the work. And so this is a really good layout of what's all happening here. And so we have 8 to do. So one of the powerful things that in this new workflow that Cursor provides as of 2.3, I believe you can select these 2 here. You can say build a new agent. So if you go from this plan file and say build a new agent, it's going to open up a new chat window and you would only take those 2 tasks and the agent will only work on those. And that's really nice because we'll keep that context window really tight and really high quality. That way it doesn't have too much to do in its mind and it doesn't lose a lot of information through compression and these other types of things. And if you run into any problems, we can just kind of create a new chat window, work from that, and kind of work from there. So I'll show you what this new workflow kind of looks like, if you know what I mean. So first, I'm going to do this thing called phase plan. And this is actually the text that's currently my phase plan. So you can take a screenshot of this and just tell Cursor, you go .cursor and make a new folder called commands. And this is called phase plan. So this is just a markdown file and it's literally just a prompt. And my prompt is this: organize the work in phases so that, and make more to-dos so we can hand it off the phase work into different engineers and agents in chunks so that we can either be done sequentially or parallelized. Be sure to have the to-dos and have a phase X refer to it in its context. I think this is such bad English, but it works. Okay. So I'm going to send this over to the agent and we're going to see this plan now update, and it's going to update the plan so that it has this much better layout. It can be overkill if you have a very simple implementation, but something like this that requires quite a bit of changes on the back end and then some of the front end verification work. I want this to be split out a little bit more, and I want to iterate on some of the phases, if you know what I mean. So we're just seeing now kind of it generated stuff here. We're using Opus. And then from here, we should be able to kick off some new chats and get the stuff going. So we'll see these plans and stuff update here pretty fast. That's a nice feature, launching agents for specific steps. Yes, yeah. So this is a brand new cursor feature that launches many subagents. Yes, yeah. So if you do the /console, that can do that to launch the subagents for you. So in order for you to do that, if you go to, okay, inside of here, so this is Sharu, so this is Ian. So I'll put this here for you, Sterling. So in here, if you go to that link, this is basically his website. You can just install on Cursor. And all it does is create a new markdown file called console.md inside of Cursor commands console. And so you can install this in a couple of places, either in your home directory, so it's available to every single Cursor instance, or put this into your own repo, so that's only available for that type of thing. And so install a Cursor will give you that option once you click that to tell you where do you want to put it. Do you want to put it inside of Cursor, or do you want to put it in everywhere else or not, and so forth. You can also define a model. So in here, if you take a look at the YAML inside, you can also say either inherit the model from where you're calling it in the chat, or specifically say Composer 1 or Opus 4.5 or GPT 5.2, whatever your favorite model is for code. Like some people love Codex, and some of these tasks can be really good for Codex. So for me, I would probably do a security advisor with Codex. It takes longer, but you know what's going to get done. So that's kind of how you can invoke them. If we take a look here, I'm not sure if it's in my files because it's not going to be in here. But if we go to maybe the settings, rules, hooks, I think it's under hooks, right? Stop, verifier, indexing, network. Where is it? Sorry. Oh, I know why. Oh yeah, dead code, skills. Okay, so under rules, we have all. So this would be not dead code sub console. So this would be here. And this is the console thing. This is just a markdown file. So this is not a YAML file. Okay. But yeah, we can define other things like third-party agent subagent skills. Okay, subagents. So we can create a specialized agent if we do /new. Help me create a subagent for, and then just describe whatever you want a subagent for. And just say, you know, like, I want it to help me describe and create a subagent. I want it to do a review after we ship a feature and remove dead code like we do with /dead code. Okay, so I think, let me grab the file. Yeah, dead code. In the dead code skill. Okay, so I have this skill in dead code that goes through and literally runs some commands to review the dead code. So there's actually some scripts that run, and it also finds these internal functions and stuff like that. So whenever I ship software, sometimes I'm prototyping and I forget I left some functions and stuff in, which is pretty synonymous when you're using AI agents. And so I'm going to kick off this task to see if it can create a subagent. In order for you to do that, you just go to rules and you just go to skills. You hit new for skill, or you can do new for subagent. And so what Cursor does is they pop you into a new chat. And in that new chat, it basically has a template for how to create a new type of agent, which makes sense, right? So it can create them by itself. So you don't have to figure out how are you going to do this. You just have to literally just hit the plus command. And that's what we're doing right now. So this is kind of what it's figuring out. It's going to review that skill file. So that way, we can have a subagent that does that. Maybe when we're shipping a feature as part of like one of the final tasks, you can kick off a subagent to do some type of review there. So here we are. So this post-ship review. So this is what it wrote for itself. And so you're a post-ship code reviewer specializing in cleanup and dead code removal. So when invoked, you can see it's read-only. So this would be enabled so that subagent can't modify files. It's just for analysis and review tasks. So we probably want to do that. And as far as the model we're going to use, we can either inherit it, or for example, I could just use Codex like high extra fast. So that could be my model that I want to use for this. And that's pretty much it. So manual dead code audit, this is going to be the steps that it does. This is pretty sweet. Yeah. So yeah, you can tell it which subagent model to use. And that's kind of how you would pass that in as well. I recently started following your session with Butoshi. Gonna have to watch this later. Yeah, for sure. And I'll actually have timestamps brought to you by Ray Transcribes. You know what I mean? So we'll have that feature as available as well. So, okay, so I'm gonna keep this file. This looks fire. Okay, so what it does is reviews what's shipped via git diff main, runs dead code audit, checks for debug artifacts. Nice. And then to use it, we could just say, use the post ship review subagent to review the feature I just shipped. Awesome, right? So as you can see, the tooling that we have set up here, you can almost start to describe how you can want an agent to run autonomously. So you can take some of these best practices that are done by other engineers or someone who's on your team, or if you're a really good engineer, like this is something I want to do all the time or more often. And like there's some stuff that I don't do as often. So this is something that's really great. I could just say, go ahead and review like as part of a final task before I merge to the feature. It's like, hey, do a post ship review subagent to review, the feature I just shipped. And so it's going to just do that review for me. And it's going to kick off in this case, we selected, instead of inheriting the model, I wanted codex extra high fast. Because I'll probably be using Opus a lot, I want to use that model there. And I just want to make it read-only because I don't want any changes to be made. I just kind of want a report that comes out. So this looks pretty good. Want me to make any adjustments? No, we'll just keep the file. Perfect. So now that lives in our code base, and I can call upon this whenever I want. That's awesome. So that was just made in a snap, which is great. So that's under cursor settings. So if you go to cursor settings, rules, and skills, you'll see all, you'll see user, and you'll also see this bigger one. So I put it for all, and this is the way it's available to everyone. And then you could just go to where it says subagents, and this is the new section that you're going to see here, and hit new. If you hit new, it's going to pop in the new chat, and it'll pre-fill how you can give it some instructions. So we could even have one for anything you want. Anything you see as far as even a Claude Code workflow, just point it to the file that has those instructions, and that's how you're going to be able to like replicate that in here as well. So if you have a workflow you like in other places, just pull that in, and that could be something that can be done there as well. So yes, I'll share the dead code one inside of my Discord. So I'll put that. I actually have a skills file, skills community, and so I'll create one dead code review skill, and attached is the skill file. Okay, and then in here, I'm going to go to my skills. So dead code skills, and then I'm just going to drag that in here, hopefully. Yoink, no. Okay, post, let's see. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, maybe. Okay, skill file to be attached. Let's see. I'm going to just open with Finder. And then what I'll do here is, yeah, here we go. Cool. So that's the dead code skill. Okay, so I put it now inside of the Discord. So that way the folks who are on the Discord, you'll be able to see this here. And this is the dead code review skill. So yeah, I'll put it in there for those folks who are in there. Okay, cool. Awesome. Yeah, that makes sense because I know there's some other people who want the similar thing. You will have to tweak it, and this is probably where you want to give it to the agent. That dead code skill is very specific to my, because I use Convex in my stack, and the way that my app is currently organized. So you'll want to just, the way that you want to like reconfigure this skill for your own purposes is say, here's an example dead code skill that was used by another engineer. I want you to adopt this for my code base. And so just tell the agent that, it will reconfigure the skill. And then this is probably where we can have the console kind of kick off. So this is probably an example command that you can use. Say, I want to re-adopt this skill, and then drag the skill into here. And then we're going to use the console skill. This is the one that Ian like blessed us with here. So it's called the console. In order for you to install it, just go and install it like we did everything here and say, use console to, okay, find all places. Let's see, use console. Okay. Let's re-adopt the skill for my code base. And I want you to use console. And so console is going to automatically launch. I think he has how many? 10? I think he has 10 by default. Yeah, 10. So his says spawn off 10. So yeah, it will have n equals 10. I want to use console to investigate my code base to investigate. the files in my code base. Okay, so that will then kick off all these extra, stuff like that. So I'm just gonna go to ask mode, and we're just gonna kick this off. So I'll show you what this looks like. So when this kicks off now, we're pretending like this skill file hasn't been like analyzed in my code. It may even find some more stuff that we don't even know about. So it's just cool. I'll read the dead skill first, and then I'll start to spawn multiple agents to investigate. And says it's thinking, and then here we go. It's going to generate, and we're going to see now I'll spawn 10 subagents. Oh my God. Actually, to be honest, this may be even more comprehensive, bro. This is cooking. We're spawning off 10, bro. This is great. Look how fast. You know why it's going that fast? It's because it's using Composer 1. And Composer 1 is perfect for these types of tasks. Because we can see like every model by default, I think it's going to be using Composer 1. Dang. Yeah, Composer 1. And you see how fast this is? This is crazy. But all it's doing is like grepping through files. That's all you need. Like you're just, look at that investigation. Sheesh. Oh, so for refactoring tasks too, you can use that. Like this is crazy fast. Oh my God, bro. This is crazy. Do you not get access to your Discord for being a premium subscriber? No, unfortunately not. So the Discord is a separate thing. So that's like $15 a month. And so instead of like charging one price or whatever, I just separated them out. So like you have the base plan with like the YouTube membership thing, and some people just want the Discord only. So that's kind of why I separated it, because there's a lot of confusion as far as what's going on. And so a lot of just kind of separated that out. And so initially I just had the like first 100 people who signed up to become members. So those are the people who kind of got into the Discord. I had to onboard everyone by hand, and YouTube doesn't have a really good framework for making this all work together. So I then found Polar, and so now I just have people sign up for Polar instead. So yeah, that's kind of how I'm doing the Discord access right now. So yeah, so as of now, we've been able to use this new console skill from Ian, and you see how crazy it went. It went super fast, like incredibly fast. It's because it's using their Composer model, right? So it kicked off 10 of those types of things, and it did an investigation for my code base. So it confirmed that dead code is safe to remove. It actually found more dead code in my code base, right? So there's orphaned internal convex functions that I have. Legacy attempt tracking, never called. Orphaned helper functions. There's like so much cleanup that I still need to do in my code base, right? This is crazy, And this is like, so previously I had a different methodology for streaming this, because I used to stream the actual chunks of stuff from the client, and the audio files would get processed on the back end, and I would do stuff. This is before I adopted Convex. And so that stuff is still there, but I decided to just kind of leave it there because I just didn't have time to clean them up. But now that I have the console with my hands and Opus 4.5, a really smart model working together, this is going to be probably like a quick, 1 hour to 2 hour task to get everything cleaned up and make sure I don't break anything. Do not delete the Stripe endpoint. All clear, no dead code found. So like, this is really, really cool. So based on the investigation, you may want to update the skill to include specific file patterns for this code base. So like the legacy transcription functions, include component checking. The current skill focuses on Convex, but components like Spotlight Card were orphaned. And then add type interface checking. So like unused types here. Would you like me to, this is crazy. This is such a crazy use case. So all we did was I grabbed that skill file that I was showing you there, right? For the dead code stuff. I say, I want you to adopt this skill for my code base, and I want you to use /console to investigate my files in this code base. So that's what it did. And it kicked off 10 of these guys, and it used the Composer model to just really go crazy for that skill. So that's an insane cheat code. And yeah, I was not expecting that. What's weird though is I thought it would actually use the GPT 5.2 thing. So I'll have to ask the Cursor team and see why that isn't the case, because I did define that in the YAML file. And so if we go to the Cursor settings in here, we go to where it says, we're going to get rid of this. If we go to rules, and in here where it says post ship review. No, okay. So that was post ship review. That wasn't dead code. Okay, got it. Never mind. Okay, it's working as expected. Makes sense. Okay. So yeah, that's this guy in a nutshell. That's really great. I have a GitHub right now, and it only shares like the Cursor rules, but those are now out of date. Like skills files are kind of the new thing. I don't really use, actually I removed all my rules files. And so the only thing I have as far as like a agents MD file, it's now 29 lines. It used to be a huge thing, and now that's pretty much gone. Claude MD file, really, really short. So these models are now much smarter. I would just say remove the rules now and just let the agent do work until it doesn't. And then if there's a skill gap or if there's a rule gap, that's where you may want to pull those in. So now I basically trying to keep my context as minimal as possible so that I let these agents do work. And this is part of the reason why I'm starting this new workflow. And this is why I'm really enjoying cursor planning for doing this thing. So that's the skill thing. And I'm glad we talked about that. And I'm glad we got to try the new thing there for the console. So as you can see, now we have way more to-dos. If you weren't following, we only had 8 to-dos earlier for our plan. Now we have 23 broken up into phases, which is going to help us keep the context very minimal, but maybe also kick off some parallel agents so that we can do some of these types of tasks as well. So as of now, we have a plan that's split out, and this is how the phases are broken out. So I'm going to kind of show you how this works a little bit here. So in here, this is how our plan got split up. So we're going to have the foundation. So we're going to add dependencies, update the schema, and do stuff with Convex sync. And then we're going to move to the backend core. So you can see how much richer that plan now becomes. So that's a lot of reason. I know a lot of people say, well, I don't like to use Opus 4.5 because the models are really incomplete. One final step that usually, it doesn't matter what model you use, whether it's GPT 5.2 Codex or Opus, you need to have some clarity on what exactly you're going to ship once you have a plan that's set up. So a plan is kind of useless if it's a little too vague and the models don't know what to do with it. And this is why I kind of force it down this extra function to make sure I can actually review that the work is being done. And each of these steps are called out in those little to-dos. And this is why I broke them down into phases. So these phases make sense. You know, we're going to have utilities, user preferences, time-step actions, and then we move into phase 3 and 4, right? These can probably be done in parallel because they don't really depend on each other, but we have an integration feature. So this is what's going to trigger, and this is how the backend is going to work. And then this is the UI pieces. So the UI pieces, while they will depend on this backend core, but they don't depend on these other pieces because this is just a separate function that runs here. Eventually, it will feed into phase 5, which is any error handling and like end-to-end testing, which is what we're going to do by hand. So this is a really good plan layout. This is literally just by giving it that / command that I gave to you earlier. So phased plans. And this is the one where I have here. So this is the one I told you to take a screenshot earlier. You can copy that. And that's how I basically organize my plans now. So that's a really good way to do that there. And so now that we have that there, we have our architecture, we have our dependencies. And so now when I select a to-do, I'll show you what this looks like. So I'm going to save this plan to the workspace. So now we have our plan saved to the workspace. And then what I'm going to do is just make my font a little bit smaller so I can manage it here. So in my actual thing here, I'm going to add these changes in. And then I'm just going to go ahead and commit these. Oops, sorry, I'm going to make sure I have a commit message. So here's my commit message. So we have a post ship review. Here we go. Cool. Awesome. Okay, so there we are. There we are. Okay. So now I have the branch there. And then what I'm going to go ahead and do is GT submit -sm. So I'm using Graphite. So this will create and push it up to the Graphite remote branch. And so what's nice about this is Graphite will do code review, to make sure everything's okay. And this is our first part of the stack, is just like literally make the plan. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a stack. And the way the stacks work is like a first thing will be just a pull request. And so the pull request will just literally just be this code to review, which is what we're already reviewed so far. And then that's pretty much it. So we're just probably going to create a new one. So add a post ship agent timestamp feature plan. And then I'm going to go ahead and see if I can work on phase 1. So before we have that, so we're going to work on phase 1. And the way we're going to do this is you can see our context window is 113,000 tokens. So if I hit build here, it will just use this same chat to keep building. And we don't want to do that. So if you use that same chat, what's going to happen is you can tell cursor to summarize and continue on forward. But one of the advantages of creating a plan is now we have this plan to work from, and we're going to now just work off those to-dos. So I'm going to show you this really cool trick that not a lot of people know about, but people are starting to find out, and it's so powerful. We can select this to-do and select this one and select this one and say, build a new agent. And so that, if you have Opus 4.5 set up, it's going to open up a new chat for us and just do that work for us. I built a whole soccer game using this exact workflow for 12 days before Christmas, and we cooked. We so cooked on this. This is amazing. So this looks pretty good. We're just going to add the dependencies, add the user preferences, and add timestamps, URLs to the fields, and then run. Okay, so this looks pretty good. So phase one can all be done in just one chat for me. So I'm going to put that onto a new agent, and we're just going to let it do its thing. So in here, you can see it kicks off a new chat, and this is our new chat here. And so let me just make this a little bit bigger so y'all can read this. And then now it's going to just go through the implementation one by one to start doing these things. These are really simple installs, and this is kind of why it's working the thing. Another reason why I like to do this specific type of thing is because I like to have a central place where I can keep track of all my to-dos. Previously, I would write all of this stuff out into Markdown. So I would make new folders, new files to track all these different phases of work. And then after it's done, I would have to then have the agent write more tokens. So I would spend a lot of tokens changing and updating and reading plans. So every change to the plan, it would read the file, it would use up some context window, write the stuff back, change the file. So like you're eating up way more tokens that way. And in this way, it's extremely token efficient because all I do is I'm relying on Cursor's app, which has the plan baked into my code here. And at the very bottom, these to-dos are keeping track of the active chats. So if I want to go back to that chat and that conversation, all I have to do is click this thing that says number 1, and this will take me here. So if I'm over here and I say like, what's this thing we're talking about for phase 1? I click it, boom, it takes me right there, right to this, where all this information is happening. And so what's nice about it, if we scroll to the even bottom of that, these are all the chats that are referenced by the agents. So by the end of the plan, we'll have a whole bunch of these chats that are related to this plan. So it's all contained into here and you don't have to worry about anything. So their new plan mode, this plan mode has been here for a while, but I'm taking extra steps to leverage it. And the way I'm able to do that is I do a thing called the phase plan layout. So once we have our plan set up, I say now, generate a plan in phase steps so that we can actually utilize them and hand them off to different agents. So that last step before we actually start building is very important because we generate those little to-dos that go at the bottom, and then it sort of reorganizes the plan, not only for agentic work, but for human work so they can be also verified. And we can see here how light the context window we have. So those 4 tasks got done in 41,000 tokens. The model goes in, it gets out, it's done. We can verify the work in a really small footprint. And that way we can just understand, okay, this looks right. Everything is looking like it's going according to plan. And if we need to reference anything, it's always here and available for us to reference. So that's what's up. That's why it's super powerful. And that's why I like this flow here. So let's see. So let me just put this back here. We install dependencies. Okay, let me start by reading the current files I need to modify. And let's take a look at the schema. So this looks pretty good. So we have a user preferences table now that we're going to read from. Extensible for future preferences. Okay. And then in our timestamp generation, we're going to do pending. Okay. So this is going to tell us whether we have generated the chapter timestamps, and then it's going to give us a status like we're waiting on it, we're still completed, or it failed, or something happened. Okay. This is looking pretty good. Then installs the dependencies. Great. And so we just did that, updated the schema. Foundation is now in place for phase 2. Okay, cool. So, okay. And so I'm basically just going to say, I'm going to check these into and create a new stack. So GT create. So I'm going to create a new branch. I'm going to say feature, let's see, timestamps phase 1. Okay. Installed. Install depths, and what else did we do? Set up schema. Okay. So are the files staged? So I'm going to stage these files. So we have everything in here. This is looking pretty good. Okay. And what I'm going to do is create a new branch and stack this thing. GT sync. Perfect. Syncing our branches. So it's restacking our branches. So now we have our first branch, which was here for the plans. And then the second one, which is the second PR that's on top of that for the timestamps to create a new feature. All right. Does not need to be restacked with main. Okay. Restacking branches. Okay. So, okay, cool. So then GT log short. Just want to make sure we have our thing here. So we have, yeah, so from main, we're doing these two. And then this is a separate branch thing. Okay, cool. Looks good. And then GT submit SM. Cool. So phase one done. Oh, my book is dead. Hey. Okay, cool. Yay. Awesome. Okay, so I'll show you what this looks like. So in Graphite, so we have our second phase of work, and we can see how simple this is. We've just submitted this for our second PR. And so now we have this. So reviewing this as a human, it's really nice because now I have the phase one work done, and it kind of makes it easy to kind of split out. And so if I needed to update anything in this area again, I can always come back to this part of the branch and make any more changes to the schema and stuff. And so that way, for me, like my own context as a human, I don't want to review thousands of lines in a PR. I just want to review a tiny little thing that we've made and kind of move forward and move forward and move forward. And so that also works really well for agents. So agents, what's really nice in the future, I'm going to create skill files so that agents can navigate the stack in the way that I do with Graphite and stacked diffs. So this is part of like a larger thing called stacked diffs. And I may do some more coverage on this soon because I actually have a live stream where I actually spoke with the founders and we actually kind of talked a little bit about how to do this. But yeah, this is kind of what you're seeing. So the Graphite stacking is kind of fun, and they have their own code review, which is also really, really good. Bug.bot is amazing now inside of Cursor, so that's also really great too. So there we go. And Bug.bot already found a bug. Let me just see what it's saying. So I always listen to Bug.bot because I always kind of respect its opinion, and it may have some interesting sauce here. So what is it saying? So rip grep grob blob problem. So this is for, okay, so this is something that I need to fix in my post ship review, which I don't need to do right now. So I'm going to go ahead and skip that for now. Okay. So we have this done, and now let's go back to our plan. So to go back to our plan, I go very top here and I go to timestamp generation and I scroll to the bottom. So now that we have phase one done, we're going to work on phase two. And so phase two is going to say Zod schema for the AI response, timestamps, build timestamp, and then normalize, and then get by. Okay, cool. This looks pretty good. So we're going to work on timestamps as one specific thing. So work on one file, and then we may work on this separately in a different chat too. So this is what we're going to do. Select those. We're going to say build a new agent. And so we're going to let this one go off and do that. So this is going to go ahead and do that with those files. And then this other phase two thing I can do separately with user preferences because it doesn't depend on the work that's up here. I just know this from having worked on my code base a little bit, but these kind of, let's see, create Convex user preferences, auto generate timestamps mutation. So yeah, let me just wait for this work to finish while I kind of kick this off, but I should be able to do two at once. Is fast review included in the subscription? No, all of these are pay per use. So as far as cost, it can cost 25 cents to like, it can cost 5 cents to like 25. And if you use millions of tokens, it can cost a little bit more, but it's not too crazy, to be honest. So yeah, and you can even do it in more in-depth review as well. As far as I know, for Bug.bot, you need additional subscription. So Bug.bot, which is different from the agent review, is two different things. So it's very confusing, and I've talked to the team about this, but Bug.bot is literally if you're wanting to have a code review that happens at PR time. So whenever you push the PR up, like what I'm doing with Graphite, like when you submit a PR, that's when it's going to do the code review with Bug.bot. And that's a pretty extensive one. That's the one you pay for subscription per month, which is why I like to create these stacks, because creating a new stack gets it to review again along the way versus one giant PR. And so that's already included in the subscription. The stuff that actually is running inside of the agent review here on the sideline, if you're thinking about how does this work and so forth, if we go to like agent review, this agent review here is the one that costs you per invocation. So you can have a quick approach or you can go deep. And you could even give it additional instructions to like do a security review or something as well, or diff against a different branch. So if you want to, let me remove this here so you can see it. So if you want to diff against like a different branch that you have set up, you can do that as well. And so and you can do quick or deep as far as like the type of thing that you want to do a review. This is the one that's going to cost you separately from BugBot. So it's kind of confusing. It should be included in one, to be honest, but it is what it is. I'm using Graphite for PR review, and it's amazing. Dude, yeah, I love their Graphite PR reviews. It's so cool. That's why I keep checking and making my stacks as the way I do. It's once you get used to the flow, it's really nice. I like it a lot. But I come from a development background. I sort of prefer this stuff. So we have Zod schema validation. This looks pretty cool. So, oh, okay. The AI SDK requires me to have Zod schema validation so that if it doesn't return back the information we want, it'll basically fail it and then do another retry again for us on our behalf, which is really nice about the AI SDK. Okay, this looks pretty good. This is my prompt, my mega prompt, and it just rebuilt it here. This is crazy, actually. Wow, this is really nice. Okay, what do we have here? So we have timestamps TS. Okay, so here we have it generated. This is looking pretty good. Okay, the Convex type check passes with all exports already. Okay, looks cool. In phase 2 to see. Okay, so this looked, and this only took up 45,000 tokens. So you see how like efficient we're getting with our chats. And it's like, we did a lot of work up front. We only use about 120,000 tokens for our plan. All of that research with Composer and everything was extremely cheap, right? We did a lot of work in this last like 30 minutes to 45 minutes to make sure we got what we wanted, especially for a production app that are actually going to paying users. And then now, like doing that extra work to get them in the phases and handing them off, you know, you're starting 45,000 tokens, you know, 25,000, you know, maybe even like 60,000. None of the stuff really goes past the 50% context window, which is the absolute sweet spot for these agents, right? So the agents are really just finding the work that they need to do. It's very straight up. They know exactly how to do it. They get in, they get out. And this is how we stack our gains. This is how we're going to do this thing. So now that we have this here, I'm just going to keep track of I'm kind of losing track of my stacks, but I just want to make sure I have stuff implemented. So phase 1 will be going to hit, I think we're now in phase 2. So go back to my plan real quick and go back here. Okay. So we started phase 2 to create the timestamps ND files. So I'm going to do this here. I'm going to say, let's see here. I like to use Ghosty, which is kind of why it's fun, but GT create -am. And I'm just going to say this. Let's see, timestamps, implement timestamp. Yeah. Phase 2. Okay. I'm going to just copy that, paste that in here, and then hit enter. I think that's how that works. Cool. Permission denied. No? What? ZSH permission denied. Why did it do that? Oh, I think I messed it up, right? Let's see. Did I create the branch? Yeah, GT sync. Let's see. Okay. I think it escaped it itself. Okay. GT create. Oh, GT submit SM. So now I'm going to submit this new thing. Okay. So it's going to push up my new branch again. So we're creating another branch to stack on top. And so this is about us adding the Zod schemas and updating the feature plan and then updating the new imports API. So if we want to go ahead and review these changes, now we have our third stack here and it's kicking off an AI review process, which is nice. And this is also being built by Vercel at the same time. So we get feedback for the agent. But all we did was create this 241 line file for our timestamps. And this is looking pretty good. So this is awesome. And so I don't need this anymore. I don't need this. And so we're just going to continue on phase 2 here. And I'm just going to go ahead and build off these here. So we're going to create the user preferences. So this is what I'm going to build in a new agent. And then we're going to come back to these ones here separately because I want to make sure that this completes very well. Okay. Whoops. My bad. I hit the wrong button. Oh no. What am I doing? Building? Oh. Restore. Okay. I'm going to retry again. Build a new agent. So here we go. Yeah. I totally messed that up. Okay. So there are 2. Okay. I think it's going now. So yeah, here we go. And then the previous chat is here that died. So I'm gonna, like this one died, I'm just gonna kill it right now. Okay, so cool. So now we're in this chat here and here we are. Perfect, perfect. What's a good way? What are we building? Oh, I see you're using grep my bad, not graphite. Yeah. What am I building? So what I'm building right now is, for those who don't know, I basically have my transcription app and I have my other app called VibeStamps. So VibeStamps allows me to generate timestamps for my SRT files. I currently have it for free. It's open source. You can go and check it out. All you have to do is just drag your SRT files. And I'm using my own infrastructure to support this. So I'm paying out of pocket every time someone does this. And so I'm about to basically integrate this feature inside of Ray Transcribes, because right now I just generate the timestamps. And so that's kind of how I'm doing it. If anyone wants to check out Ray Transcribes, I actually have an invite link. So I'm going to go ahead and push that out right now. So if you check out this link right here, this is going to allow you to copy text. So right here, I'll put this in again in the chat. So that way it kind of surfaces back up again. Here we go. Cool. So yeah, this link right here, if you want to go ahead and sign up, I have like, you can just try it for 7 days and just go ahead and give me some feedback. And so as of right now, this is like probably one of the fastest transcribers that are out there currently on the market, but it's extremely reliable. And I recently just added the ability to do speaker diarization, so I can reprocess with multiple speakers. So you can do that here and start reprocessing. So this will take the existing transcript that I've already uploaded, and then it's going to reprocess everything back. So it has like the separation for speakers. And then you can even edit it. So you can say, speaker 1 is Ray and speaker 2 is whatever. And that way it will kind of work appropriately there. So super fun times. So yeah, while that's going, boom, it's already done. So that by the way, our 44-minute live stream, all reprocessed with speakers and everything, super fast. This is ridiculous. No one's talking about this. This is like so crazy. So I can show you the speakers. There's like 6 different speakers. So this was I think this was like a live stream that was done as well. So either there are, oh, I know what happened. I have a bug I need to fix. I think it's only 2 speakers. Because I have a chunked file, it got reprocessed and this got reset. I need to fix this bug. This is a really good bug. I'll get that fixed. So, but I'm able to do this type of stuff at lightning speed. So I could just say speaker 1 is Ray. And then, speaker 2 is going to be like Butoshi or something like that. So this is really cool. So over here, and I just reset. This will just update all the timestamps and stuff like that for the speaker. So yeah, now you see Ray and your stuff will have that there. So yeah, and then if you wanted to go back to the original version, you can restore them too. So you can go back to the original if you want to go back, or go back to the first transcription that you did, and you can see which one you've done with other versions. So yeah, all that stuff is built in. And if you want to drop some feedback, just drop it in here. Light mode, dark mode, all that stuff too. Feedback. Yeah, it's really cool. So yeah, I'm going to try to add in the timestamps. And now we've been able to use this thing called a console, for those who are wondering, console. And so console, C-O-N-C-I-L. And this console command is basically given to us from Ian. So Ian made this as part of his workflow at Cursor. And so what this allows them to do is spawn multiple subagents to do any type of task, from authentication investigations to looking up errors and stuff. And it's incredibly fast. We literally did a dead code command and was much more thorough because it was able to spawn off more agents to look at different pieces of code. Typically, I would just do it with one agent, but the agent has such a limited context window. Sometimes it tries to get out early and saying, I'm done. And so when you spawn this type of task off and you give it these types of instructions, now it can spin off subagents to do those tasks. And these are the instructions it does for it. So it's pretty cool. It's a really, really cool feature. To install this, all you do is hit install on Cursor and you're pretty much flying. So that's what's up. So that's what's there. Okay, without getting lost a little bit further, let me just kind of finish this up and then I'll get to your questions, Sebastian, and some other folks who have some questions as well. So we can kind of dig into this. So here we are. All right. So now that we have this here, so both to-dos are complete, which was I can see that this has that there, both to-dos. Okay. Okay. So with these were already implemented. Nice. Okay. It calculates the target timestamp, converts to perfect. Wow. Okay. So this was already done from our previous to do. Wow. So the previous agent was super proactive, I guess you could say. So this is really interesting. Okay. And now we're just going to create these into the new chat. Oh, so this is already done. And then I think we're going to now basically check mark these. Great. Great. Update. Mark them as complete. Okay. Yeah, so it should be able to now mark those as complete now. Yeah, completed. Perfect. Yeah. I think so. I don't know. This is really weird. There's probably a bug here. Okay, there probably is. Generate timestamps. Okay. Oh, well, I think, yeah, what I'll do is go back here, go back here. Okay. Reopen this thing, go to the bottom. Okay. So they are marked as completed. So I think what I'll do is just mark these ones here and then do these next to-dos. Okay. So phase 2. Okay, phase 2 is going to have these. And so what I'll do is hit build a new agent. So now I'll take these to-dos and build them in a new agent. And then once those are done, we're going to check those in. And then we should have our feature shipped pretty fast after that. Cool. And then as far as code review, yeah, this is looking pretty good. In progress. Pending. Okay. Completed. Yeah, all these are complete. Okay. So perfect. Okay, cool. So yeah, while it's doing that, let's go ahead and take a look and see what's going on over here. Okay, so we have our stuff that's being checked here with Graphite. We have subagents. Let's learn a little bit more about custom subagents. So the project subagents can live in different directories. So there's the current project, the Claude compatibility ones can live in here, and then the current project only would be codex, would be .codex, and then user subagents for all users, so it would be cursor agents, and all projects for current user Claude compatibility. So you can see Claude and codex have different like dot names, and so that makes it super annoying because if you have and you want to share the subagent with these different folks, they're going to be in these different locations. So the project subagents take precedence when names conflict. So when multiple locations contain subagents with the same name, .cursor takes precedence over Claude Code or Codex. So if you're wondering what the order of operations are, if you have one in Claude, you have one in Codex, it's going to go with the one from cursor at the top. And then it'll go to the next one and it'll go to the next one. So that's kind of the way you're thinking about it. So it looks like cursor should be able to inherit like subagents from those projects, which is nice. So you don't really have to convert them. Each subagent is a markdown file with YAML formatter. So in YAML, you have the name, you have a description, and you have the model that you can select, and you basically give it instructions here. So the names that we can configure in these fields up here are going to be the name. So none of these are required, which is nice, which is why Ian doesn't have any of these for his YAML thing. He just has a markdown file, which is just what's down here. But if he wanted to, he can say it's a read-only true. We can tell it what model we want to use. And then if it's a background task or if it's not, so if it can run as a background with a subagent without waiting for completion, that's pretty cool. And if you want to create one of these, if you just got in, the way we were able to create one was we go to the cursor settings and we go to rules and skills over here on the left-hand side. And then we can go to where it says subagents. And in here, what you can do is hit new. And so what new does is it opens up a new chat and it just says /create subagent. Help me create a subagent for cursor and then just tell it whatever you want. And so I had an existing skill file that I had for dead code. I put that in there and I told it I wanted to create a new subagent using this skill file. And so it basically created this thing called the post ship review. And so this put it in my .cursor file here. So this did a comprehensive review and we can actually see that I made it read only. So remember those YAML options? Cursor takes them and then presents a user interface for you. So that way you don't have to type those in. You could just type in read only, or you can type in description and so forth. And this is the models that we selected, GPT-5, Codex High, you know? And so this is exactly what it looks like down below. So if you're wondering what this looks like up here, this all comes from what's in this little file here. So that's what it's called xhigh-fast. And so these are the instructions for it. I didn't write this. This is what Cursor did just by putting that in there. And that's why you have that there. So that's what's up. All right, so now that that's there, for those who are wondering. Let's go ahead and check back in on our plan and see how this is going here. So this is that chat there. Great, so now we've made some more code changes. I'd like to know in your opinion about the Claude Code model. I've been using it for my workflow and small task implementation, surprisingly fast and cheap. I think if you have a good plan like we have laid out here, you can send those off to like smaller models or other models that just take very explicit instructions, and it works really, really well. As far as like general model and like where I spend most of my time, it's between Opus 4.5 and GPT 5.2 Codex high or extra high. And so I like this like really large, these models for like especially planning work or verifying types of things, and even for implementing, to be honest. And so a lot of other models have kind of faded away. The GLM 4.7 model has come into my radar, and this is something that I've actually deployed on my NVIDIA DGX Spark. So I'm still experimenting with what that looks like. The speed isn't as fast because it's local. I don't have like the powerful GPUs and stuff, but this is something that I'm running at full precision. And I might quantize it down to a 4-bit and see if it still has similar performance. But they're saying it could be on par with a Sonnet 4.5 model or Sonnet 4 model, which was pretty much state of the art as of last year and got a lot of work done. But as you know, with some of these models, they can steer off and do some really funny stuff. And so the best models right now that work for me are ones that adhere to tool calling, to multiple actions back to back to back. And there are even some Kimi models that can do that pretty well, or they're claiming they can do that. I haven't heard a lot of buzz from that. So there's a lot of different stuff out there. Grok, when I first tried it like 3-4 months ago, wasn't that exciting. And so I kind of gave up on it, to be honest. But I know people who use it, and I'm not saying that it's bad, especially if you have certain use cases and it works for you. So I would say try them out and see if it works for your lifestyle for sure. Yeah. So, okay. So we have this here. Now let me create the timestamps. Okay. So it did implement these 5 to-dos. So we have user preferences now, which is cool. So we have the internal queries to look for them and mutations as well. This is nice. We also have the timestamps thing, which we also created. I may need to add internal query to get the job data for the results. Okay, this looks pretty cool. Yes. Cool. Awesome. And then we have fetch job data as, that looks pretty cool. Nice. So it did all the checks here and says, let me update the dos and mark them, and then maybe fix some other things with remove the helpers. Okay, so create a new file, public query, returns current user's preferences using the auth identity. Perfect. And then the internal query for use by another Convex functions. Great. And then we have a new timestamps file and internal actions for sets the status of generating, fetches the SRT, extracts the metadata, calls Gemini via SDK. Looks great. Now we have a public action called generate, so validates the auth and schedules to generate timestamp to run in the background. And the implementation follows the same patterns for the existing. Cool. This looks really good. I'm going to go ahead and commit these. And so I think we're almost done with phase 2. And then this should be able to be like working in my app shortly after this. And so we should be able to get timestamps in my, SRT files and stuff that I have from there. So as of now, what's happening is now that I push up the changes, I'm still in phase 2. So now you can see that there's Graphite picks up, there's like some changes coming in. So I'm going to show the latest version. So we have 654 lines coming in. Most of those lines I think are around planning, but we'll see. Yeah, they're around these files. So yeah, the timestamps files is the one we created. We have user preferences now. So these are user preferences. And then we also have a timestamps file, which is a lot of the work that I have, especially for the prompts. So this is what I'm doing for my prompting. This is open source. It's currently available at VibeStamps.com. So you can check that out. And then that's how I'm able to get these really beautiful, like amazing timestamps that are really generative, AI agent ready. So whenever like Bing searches, Google searches, anyone who's like Perplexity doing searches on your YouTube videos, having these timestamps is going to be super important because they're chunked out enough so that the agents can find them. And they can go to that place in YouTube, and it also aligns with the timestamps that are also on YouTube. So I upload both, so that way it kind of meshes together, and then your content gets really discovered pretty fast. What's nice, because now you can be like a small channel like I was, And you start to like when you're trending, if you hop on a trending topic, because you have a dictionary. So like that's the most important thing right now that people don't really have like in their transcriptions is like having a dictionary of words that are like misspelled. So you put them in there so they're spelled correctly. Because when people are searching for certain things online, they're going to type in Claude Code. They're not going to type in Cloud, CLOUD, or they're not going to type in Chat G with a B, Chat GPT. They may, but then your content gets found because you're actually using the key terms. And so those key terms are going to show up to those models within the first 2 hours of your content being published. And so you start to show up right away. Yeah, I know this sounds like a pitch for my app, which is probably the best app in the world right now for this. And we're just adding features on top of that. So thanks a lot. Appreciate it. For sure, man. I got you, fam. GLM 4.2, reduce context length around 100K. Oh, yes. When hosting local, anything more drastically slows it down. So did you try that new fix for the DeepSeek sparse attention thing that they fixed, by the way? That helps with the memory improvement. That's actually what I had to do with mine because I'm using CUDA version 13. And so that brings the footprint down to like 10 gigabytes. Let me see if I can find it on x.com. So yeah, like GLM 4.7 context window. There's a context window fix. I wonder if they pushed it now to the repo. I think he would have the fix. I remember he talked about it because that's what I had to do for mine as well. Okay, let me see if I can find that for you. Another person to follow is awesome, 0x0. He's doing a lot of stuff right now with this, and he's like a really solid follow if you haven't had a chance to check it out. Let's see, GLM. It's like he's been posting nonstop about this stuff, but let's see if I can find it. Oh, because this is a really important one, especially if you're developing with GLM 4.7 locally, to find that thing. Buddy, where did you put it? January 23rd. This is only like a day. Come on, man. Okay, I have to do the search. Actually, just go ahead and look him up. Let's see. Can we do that? Okay, 060 GLM context window. GLM 4.7. Yes. No, hold on. Because he runs a lot of stuff locally. Where is this? My guy. Yikes. Okay. I don't have the thing here. Is it here? Let's go. Okay. If I find it, I will post it. Yeah, because he had the fix. The fix was mentioned in here. And this is kind of where still needs to benchmark. Yeah, because it was using 115 gigabytes of VRAM. And there's like a fix for it. Yeah, I don't know. More later on that for sure. Yeah, I want to make sure that I am going to cover that. Actually, if for anyone who's interested, I'm going to be doing a stream dedicated to the NVIDIA DGX Spark. So I got one of those units and I've been playing a lot around with it and I really love that thing a lot. So I want to do a lot of local model processing. I'm even going to go to like a micro center and build my own PC. I am realizing that with this RAM stuff that's increasing, this is only the very beginnings of things. And I'm not trying to instill any fear, but I really appreciate having models that I can run locally to do certain types of tasks. And I can only already see this going up from here. So resources for cost for CPUs, cost for GPU prices like SSDs. And so I think people are going crazy buying this stuff now and they're actually not like, it's not a bad idea. And yeah, I want to try to see if I can get a nice graphics card in there. I haven't built a PC in like over a decade because I worked at Apple and I used to get those machines for me, as part of my research, but I don't, I need to kind of get back into the PC game and put some really beefy graphics cards in there, plus the DGX Spark on my local network and really start cooking with that. So if you want to check that out, definitely stay tuned because I'll be having some more, like I'm going to do an IRL stream where I can just pull up into a micro center and just start asking them lots of questions. I have no clue. I know how to build computers like from like a decade ago, but I don't know what the latest hotness is now, what the current RAM prices are in that situation, and like what they're saying as far as like what's going on in the situation. But I do want to, I feel like the value is to build and understand how to like run my models, host them and do that stuff locally. And that's something I want to dive deeper on because we're going to have like, there's a lot of really weird configuration stuff, but this is only going to get better and easier. And it's even easier now that we have these powerful models. There's something about being able to run your own infra, and now you can run. At that time, people were just trying to run GPT-4 on their laptop, and I feel like you can do that now. But now you have these much more powerful agentic models and different tooling that we can start to do. And the Spark is going to be really fun. It's been in a fun adventure drug. I mean, an adventure gateway there. So that big shout out to NVIDIA for sending that to me as well. So that's really cool. So now I'm on a mission to go buy a PC. $5K for 5090, bro. Oh my God. Yeah, I'm running mine on the DJX. Yeah, I'm running the GLM model on the DJX. Is it Best Buy? Where do you get these 5090s from? I don't know. Oh no. We're going down the rabbit hole right now. Oh, this is about to be crazy. Oh. Wait, what config do you got, bro? I thought isn't it 2K? 32 gigs? Like, get me on the sauce. Oh, sold out. Funyuns, bro. Funyuns. Are you serious? Oh, snap. Oh, sold out. Oh my gosh. Yeah, sold out. Sold out. Bruh, sold out. Oh, don't play with me like this, bro. Don't play with me like this. Sold out. Sold out. Oh. Oh. Oh, bro, I'm gonna start crying right now, bro. Why? Sold out, sold out, sold out. I'm telling you. Oh, no. Oh, my God. Yo, no way, bro. You're not playing, bro. I see why it's 5K. Oh, hold on. I'm gonna Claude this right now. We have AI, right? AI can help us get AI, right? I need to get a 5090 ASAP. So build a custom PC. Where can I get one in the Bay Area? How much will it cost? I went to Best Buy and they are sold out. Use Exa to help you research. Wow, no way, bro. I don't know whether to switch to the Mac ecosystem or know what. Like, I have a 2080 Ti right now. I'm going PC right now for some of this stuff. Like, I'm doing everything. So I have the Mac with a lot of memory. So like having a Mac with like a good battery life is really, really cool. So it's like a laptop. I can do that stuff. Like, I always depend on it, but I can have the PC at home. The PC could just sit at home, powered on, along with the DGX Spark. And then like I have Exo Labs. So Exo Labs can tie all of them together. Mac, PC, Linux, whatever you want. And so I'll have my own basically at-home infra, which is going to be fire, right? And so if I build a box, I just got to get enough power supply and everything like that. But if I were to drop like 5 to 10K, like would you drop it on an M3 Studio or would you drop it on one of these? For me, the reason why I'm going 5090 route is because the CUDA, bro. No, I mean like NVIDIA's like, yeah, the future of AI stuff and everything always drops. Like on Hugging Face, it's like compatible with their stuff right away. So like, let's see here. So the Founders Edition is 2 bands, depending on the model. Okay, so average third party is 27. So scalper eBay prices are up to 10K, bro. No way. No way. 4K. Sheesh, bro. You may not need to worry more about RAM prices. It's crazy, but okay, bro. RAM is the new gold. RAM is the new gold. Micro Center Santa Clara is your best bet for person stock. There's a store right in the Bay Area. They do periodic restocks on launch day. People were camping out. Bruh. We're going to have an IRL stream where I camp out over 24 hours until I get a graphics card. I'm going to be sitting in front of whatever store has got it. Bro, are we like in apocalypse right now? It feels like we're in apocalypse. This is America. How are we having this type of... I thought this was supposed to be like the land of the prosperous and stuff. As you found, it's sold out. Newegg listings exist, but standalone GPUs are mostly out of stock. They have 5090 pre-built systems and laptops. Okay. Set up stock alerts. Check a micro center. NVIDIA's direct store. Avoid scalpers unless you absolutely need it yesterday. Low-key, I kind of need this yesterday. Oh, wow. This is crazy. Okay, I'm about to hit up some folks. Like, I'm going to have to like text Jensen real quick and be like, yo, you got some 5090s? You got some 5090s back there, bro? I need some of these 5090s, bro. I need some 5090s. I need to get warm over here. It's cold. I need to stay warm. Yo, this is nasty. Seriously, though? Okay. Oh. Y'all put me on game on this. Is pretty weird. It's probably last year, October, the prices went crazy. Purchased 192 gig memory and 5090 normal prices. Oh, you got so lucky. I wish I was on this train right now. You're the smart one right now. Y'all are the real ones right in the chat. What do you think about RLM models? Is this the future? I'm really interested in the DeepSeek sparse attention paper. Oh no, the compression one, the optical compression paper that they just dropped, I think earlier this year or late last year. And I'll have to look into RLM. I haven't really spent too much time in that realm because this is all still very new to me, by the way. And so I'm not an ML engineer. I'm just like a person who loves to just play with engineering stuff and tinker. So this is probably me. I would help fund the overnight stay if you purchase one for me and ship to Austin. I'll Venmo you. Oh, okay. Like we might have to start like a fund down to host for hardware. My hardware for the Chads in here, bro. You're so fire right now. Thanks for the streams. I love watching them. Wanted to share that as a marketing technologist with 15 years experience. I started using AI 2 years ago and just got a job as an AI architect. Congrats, bro. Congrats. I really appreciate. Everyone here is right now wanting to be at the cutting edge of stuff. And I really love the community and everyone who shows up. Like, I feel like I should have been earlier on the PC train. But to be honest, I want to get real with y'all for a second. Like, low-key, I was super blinded having worked at Apple. I was like, there'll always be plenty of these types of supplies and everything like that. And I don't need to buy a PC. But man, at the end of last year, at beginning of this year, I'm starting to see, with the RAM prices go up. I was like, well, what is going to go up? And everyone already saw this coming. And I did too, but I just kind of thought this will adjust into the future. But I think it's becoming very clear how important it is to have these like models like locally so you can play with too. I love using all the frontier stuff. I love using GPT-5. I love using Opus 4.5. But also having something that I can run locally on my machine is very precious too. Not only for my stuff, but for my family stuff, also for like business stuff that I want to keep like private. So, health insurance records and stuff like that, and all the other types of things that involve, financial regulation and all these types of stuff that I want to just only operate on my machines. I feel like that's going to be the best way to kind of maintain everything. So I have a network attached storage that has its own thing there, and I have the computers on the side, and I can just give them progressive access so they don't have access to everything, and I have an AI agent go wild on stuff. So this is kind of part of like the bigger picture for having these types of powerful systems, but having them available locally is really nice and powerful too. So these models are getting super powerful, and this like 5090 stuff is no joke. Oh man, this is gonna be like, it's okay. Mark my words. I think by the end of July, some of these graphics cards are gonna go for 20K. Y'all heard it here first. Do you think it's gonna be 20K? I don't know. I'm really curious. This is kind of, it seems cheap right now. Oh, this hurts. This hurts me bad. It hurts me bad for a lot of different reasons, but yeah. I can't. Sold out, bro. Sold out. I can't right now. Don't say that. You're gonna make me drop like, I'm telling you, bro. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? You could sell it back to someone else for 10K. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not trying to cite fear, but I guess that's exactly what I did. I guess I'm speaking out. I'm hoping that it doesn't go that way, but I don't see how it can't. Yeah. let me just go back to Claude and just say, am I over worrying about this? Am I just kind of like spinning out? Like, calm me down, bring me back down for real quick. Okay. I want you to be brutally honest here and let me know if I'm just worrying too much about this, or is there going to be any site where the prices really start to come down significantly? My prediction is that by July, a graphics card like this will be $20,000. I think there's just still too much pent up demand. I want you to use AXA to do some more research and look at forums and look at other places and try to see if you can gauge demand based off of some of the stuff that we're looking up. If I'm looking this up, that means other people are probably looking this up as well, and they're probably encountering similar things. That on top of RAM prices increasing, there could just be this ongoing demand that just never calms down. So I'm just gonna send this across and we'll get back to building. So while that research is going, we're just gonna go and take a look back at what we're kind of getting back into. So yeah, big shout outs to it's like Conatox, who got their job as an AI architect. So amazing. What a great time to be alive, because if you're an engineer and you're using these powerful tools, you're going to really start to do some really great stuff. We'll be in the era of not owning anything and only buying subs. Oh, man, I don't want to buy subs. Only subs, bro. Only subs. Okay. So let's go ahead and take some of this energy and just start building. That's why I'm trying to do this. The reason why I try to make software is because I want to build my way like into success, right? So I appreciate everyone who's even been able to, like, you know, Conatox has been like, everyone's here is actively searching out information. So that's what we're trying to do here. Ship software, learn how to ship software, utilize everything in our power to really get stuff done. So, okay, so here we have this here. Oh yeah, okay. Okay, so we have our plan. Let me go back. We shipped our phase plan. And so now we're back down to phase 3 to modify the complete transcribe job, check the preferences, test the backend flow, and then create this. Okay, so let's see. Integration. So we're now going to integrate and add auto generation to the transcribe job, and then the front end UI stuff. Okay, so we have phase 3 and then phase 8 environment variables. Okay, do I have this already set up yet? I'm just trying to see. Because the AI SDK should already figure this stuff out for us. Okay. Okay. Okay, let's see. So we did, now we're doing phase 3, modify transcriptions and add. Perfect. Add auto generation trigger. Oh yeah, that's right. We got to do that. Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and do that right now. Ray, can you open a run pod account and rent a 5090 for like $1 per hour? Yes, but I don't know who owns the run pod. Like, is it like on a server somewhere? Does it get purged after the run is complete? I'm just kind of really curious, you know, because I think over time is if the prices of these graphics cards go up, like, will also like energy costs go up as well? And like, you know, what we're paying as well for these types of services. So my other prediction is like, probably by the end of this year, like a lot of these services we're paying $200 a month with, they're going to start pushing to like $1,000 to $2,000 a month. Like, imagine if we have Opus, like it's currently at 4.5. If we have Opus like 6, like before GTA 6, but like not Opus 5, but Opus 6, where like it's literally just annihilating everything. And Opus 6 has just become a class of its own, where it's like so far up and to the right, where the other models are still down here trying to figure out what they did to just have this like insane machine. They're not going to give you that at $200 an hour. They're going to say like, you're getting the work done of $1,000 to $2,000 an hour person, or whatever it is, like an engineer, and you can run this. And normally that would cost you $200,000 a year to run. But this employee or this type of system that you can configure yourself as a developer is worth $2,000 a month. You know, by the end of this year or by the beginning of next year, that's going to be how crazy it is, right? So like, it's going to make the other models and everything look cheaper, and you still have access to them, right? You'll have Sonnet 5, Sonnet 5.5, but it's not going to be like this giant, ridiculous leap that's up here. And I could see that happening with some of the DeepSeek stuff that they have for this really long context things, because like you take these agentic systems, you take all the other stuff that we've provide it for scaffolding. You give it this longer term compression and memory decompression things, but also like the ability to reason a lot better because it has different sets of data and or other scenarios and stuff like that, that, you know, for coding tasks, you know, is it going to be worth it? Not everyone's going to be able to afford that, but like corporations will be doing that. Like us, you know, normal people, like solo developers won't be able to get that level. So that's going to be ridiculous. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just thinking, so what does that mean to prices of GPU? What does that mean for everything we have? You know, assuming those prices will still continue to skyrocket, I don't think I think it's a good idea to like bootstrap and rent some of those stuff now, but I want to try to get and leverage as much as I can from like local hardware, because I think that's going to get more valuable too with this. You know, as that goes up, this goes up too. You know, like all this hardware, it's really weird because usually tech and consumer hardware is always backwards, right? Like it loses so much value because of Moore's law. But now it doesn't seem to be, Moore's law like kind of doesn't have that same effect like it used to back in the days. So it's just more about like more compute, more compute, more compute. So like these machines, you just need more of them. So like you and your friends get together and come together in a session. Like if your neighborhood has a bunch of compute and you can use it, that's going to be more valuable. You know, it's kind of a weird era, right? So like, I think that's kind of where I'm flipping my thinking here. So yeah, that's what's up. Let's see. Okay. So yeah, let's figure this stuff out. So here we are at the bottom. Now we'll come back here. Okay, so let's modify and check the preferences for auto trigger and then test the backend flow via the Convex dashboard. Okay, let's see if I can do that here. So I'm gonna hit build a new agent. Okay, so now it's doing its thing. What does my app do? There should be a landing page or something to hit the auth page immediately when I visit. Oh, I see. Yeah, because I have an app page and I have a landing page. So if you just go to Ray Transcribes, that's where most people will see it, like on the internet. Ray Transcribes. And I don't redirect back because people who want to start to use the app, they'll just go to app.raytranscribes. So that's probably what you're seeing right now. Because once you log into the app, then you're pretty much just go right into here, which is probably why you don't see it. So I could have an auth flow as like as soon as you sign out and I don't see that you're logged in, I push you back to the main page. But yeah, I feel like most people come in from here. And then the invite link that I sent will probably take them to the other place. But what the app does is basically just this current, like this is the first version of it. I need to make a new video for this, but I made this as part of like, you know, trying to get some transcripts generated. But what I discovered is that language models actually love transcripts, and especially if you have the right words in them. So you have to make sure that the stuff in your transcripts are spelled correctly. The problem is that every single transcriber that's out there does it really incorrectly as far as like what you get for free. So YouTube's transcriptions and all this other stuff doesn't really do it too well. And then when you put them into these other systems, they may generate the SRT files, but they may not be formatted correctly, like for actual like television and broadcast. So you're supposed to have like certain character lengths and all this other current stuff, especially for education or for accessibility. So this is something that I worked on to make sure that I can get that right. I've also open sourced this, so I have an MLX version that does this as well. And so I want, you know, use local models and all that stuff that I have available. And this is something that I'm, you know, like really passionate about for just myself. But I turned this into an app because people were requesting Windows versions and I couldn't do that. So what I'm doing now is going to add the support for timestamps. And right now what I also have is anyone who's been using it, they've said that this is like the fastest one they've ever used. But it's really, really accurate because I'm using the Whisper Large V3 model. So once the stuff is uploaded, I can process like a, you know, I can process like a 6-hour live stream in like under 2 minutes, which is insane, like a super insane speed. And yeah, so that's kind of what I'm doing. You can edit the timestamps. You can select speakers and stuff you want and edit their names as well. I also have version saving because someone who does a lot of education wanted to have versions of stuff saved as well. And your feedback that you give back here is super valuable. So that's kind of what I do here. So this is kind of the app that I built. You'd be surprised that I actually never really wrote a line of code, but I'm using the methods that I'm showing you here on my live stream to actually implement all my features. So I, you know, speak them into existence and I review the code and I make sure I have these like software best practices to like do my own personal testing and make sure that everything is kind of working accordingly. And part of what I do live streaming is just kind of showing you as I learn something new, or something new that comes out, especially with a cursor or droid or whatever agent that I'm using at the time, and show you some of the best practices. And that's kind of what I like to do here, is just like ship software, teach you what I learned so that I know I understand it, or if I don't, we can learn together, and play around with the stuff. And I'm also going to get into local models. So I have a DGX Spark, and so I want to run a parakeet model on it. And then I want to see if I can experiment with sending jobs to it for my own personal use, but then I may expand it out as a service later on. And that'll be something easy to do in my app. Like I can say, you want to process with this flaming hot, crazy model. And then I'll be able to run some of the jobs, on my DGX Spark on my machine. So I don't have to rent a server, have it in the cloud, and have it store a language model and have it spin up for, all the different jobs that need to be done. I could literally do it from my house, which is kind of crazy. So yeah, more on that soon. Like that's just kind of coming to the future. But I figured, I got to start somewhere. I shipped an app. People were using it. People were paying some money for it, which is cool. It's a really niche use case because, you can prompt this app in like one prompt, but that's like for your personal use, and it's not meant to scale up to other people, if you know what I mean. So that's kind of where this whole journey has evolved, adding Stripe, adding security, adding, the database with Convex, the real-time sync, adding features and adding features and adding features has been a really fun journey for me to grow this app even further, because it's actually a usable app, which is nice. So that is serious speed. Yeah, like insane speed, which is cool. Maybe the prices don't go up, but the scarcity persists because the hardware is not being sold commercially anymore. Oh, I see what you mean. That's a really interesting. Yeah, you can keep the run pod paused. Oh, at like 6 cents an hour. Maybe prepare for a massive coding run. Okay, that's a really good point, Sterling. Yeah. You know what we should do? It's like we should get like a group thing in the Discord where we can have like a rent a pod or something like that, and we could just kind of get some group discounts or something like that. That'd be fire actually. So that we can just kind of use inference. Actually, I'm going to be working on getting some compute with Brev. So they're going to hook it up and see if we can get some compute available. More on that soon. So yeah, that'd be so fire. Okay, so we have this. What did we do here real quick? So now what did it do? It did the phase 3 tasks. So what did it do here? So also checks the triggers. Check if the user is auto-generate timestamps enabled, and then it will go kick off that function. So auto-generate timestamps will internal timestamps. Okay, let's go take a look. So this is the function I have. So it sets to generating, upload the blob, and this is, I think it runs in a transaction, right? Handler would do try, fetch the content, extract the metadata, prompt, and call generate object. Gemini 2.5 Flash. I might change the model. Okay. This looks pretty good. Okay. And job user ID timestamp. Okay. This looks pretty good. So it will actually send the results back up. And then I get the timestamps blob URL, which would be from the Vercel blob. Okay, cool. Awesome. And completed work. Auto trigger. Perfect. How to test manually. Find a completed transaction ID. Go to the functions, timestamps, and generate, and enter the job ID and run. Monitor the timestamps results and make sure results populated. Set the user preferences to auto-generate, upload and transcribe an audio file. Okay. So check the, okay, I'm going to verify this in the UI so that way we can get it working there. Yeah, I think that'd be easier to verify in the UI actually. It'll be a lot faster. I could generate UI a lot faster to verify this than doing this like manually. That's the state of where we're at right now. The reason why it's taking me a long time is because I'm kind of yapping and getting a little psyched up for buying GPUs. So, okay, let's go ahead and take a look. So I want to make sure I commit these changes, and I think Ghosty. So git tower, I just want to make sure I'm on the right branch. So as of now, I have this stack I'm kind of building here. So we're currently on the phase 2 stack, but now we got to push in phase 3. So I'm going to say, let's say feature timestamps and do phase 3. Okay. And then I'm going to just create a new branch. So I have these staged here. Okay. These are staged, and GT create -am. And then this. Okay. Perfect. Okay, GT sync. Perfect. Cool. And I'm going to create a new GT submit this new branch. Okay, so now we have a new branch and Bug.bot will kick off, Graphite will kick off their review, which is nice. So we're getting reviews along the way, which is really, really great. So here's our current, we have 4 stacks now that are in our thing and they're going to run the review process. So we've only changed 24 lines, but you can see how nice this is to review. There isn't a lot to review here, which is great. So we can go up and down the stack. If we go back in here, we can go back to the previous PR and we can see what we've pushed and changed there. So this is just generating the timestamps file. Yes, this is looking pretty good. Okay. So now that we have those there, let's go move on to phase 4. So we're going to create the UI. So this is going to create the components here for the timestamps. And we're going to create the tab. Okay, so timestamps list, the tab, and add timestamps tab to page. Okay. Auto generate timestamps toggle. Okay, so I might do these. I might do these all at once. Regenerate button. It seems like a lot, but I'm gonna just maybe do these 2 components and together. Okay, so I'm gonna build these together right now. Build a new agent. Okay. Cool. Epic. DGX Spark. Can't wait to see that especially. Yeah. So next Saturday stream, I'm gonna do the DGX. That's gonna be like a dedicated stream, so I'm gonna play around with that. I have a lot of stuff going on, so that'd be really cool. So now that this is going, so it's going to try to implement this component. I just gave it in its own task. So that way it will like these 2 together. And because I think I just want to keep the context window small enough so it doesn't exit too fast. Sometimes if I give it too many tasks, Opus will want to exit as fast as possible. And that way I'll be able to check the code here. So I will message. Okay, cool. Thank you. Yeah. That'd be cool. I've been super keen to see the DGX in action. Alex Jones. Let's see if I can. Do I have NVIDIA Sync up? Let's see. Oh, I know why. Okay, so let me just open a new window. New window. We can see the terminal here. I'll show you what I'm serving. So I have an SSH session to the Spark locally, and I'll show you what I'm doing. So I have a tunnel set up. Okay, cool. So I have let's see. I have what am I doing? I don't remember. I have it set up with Droid, GLM Flash. So what am I doing here? Factory settings, config, custom models. Okay. So I think what I have set up here is Droid. Oh, no, Ghosty. Droid. And so I'll show you. In the custom models, I have the GLM Flash for my DGX Spark or DGX Spark. And so in here, I can say, what is going on in this branch? Actually, let me restart. So it needs to update Droid. And then we're going to take a look. Okay. What is going on with this branch? And so now you can see the connection spin up here. And let me see if I can get into my SSH Spark. Okay. What's the command that was running before? Hugging face? No. Okay. Close. So you can see it's not really that fast because I have the full precision model that's loaded up for GLM 4.7 Flash. And I think the time to first token takes a little while. But basically, I need to figure out what the optimizations are here for it and everything. But what's nice about the SSH session inside of Cursor, so like Cursor allows you to SSH into things. So this is actually my entire DGX Spark box inside of Cursor. And so in here, you can, you literally have access to the entire device and file system. So in my file system here, I have like a project file here, and I have like the models that I've downloaded. So I have one for GLM inference. And so I basically created like a config for each specific model that I want to do, run and serve inference from. And then as far as chats and everything, I have what was I running to kick this off? So remote SSH session. I create a tunnel. What am I doing? Yeah, I don't remember, but I'll have to go through more output. Okay. Yeah. So with these, did it come back? Okay, cool. So yeah, now it's basically just using the model, the GLM model that's running locally on my Spark. And this is what, Droid is talking to. And I have this configured, with my own IP and everything like that. And that's how it's able to talk to it. And so, yeah, it's kind of fire. And I think I'll have to share more of how I get this stuff set up, because I have the Flash setup instructions here. And this is based off of some of the other instructions I got from someone else. So I want to definitely show you how I do that. And I can show you how I serve it using VLLM. So that was suggested to me. And then this is what I had to do to make the fix. So it's called the GLM for Mixture of Experts Lite. So I had to add this line to the DeepSeek MLA for this to work correctly. And so this is for the model architecture converter. And this is part of the Python project. So what's nice about Cursor is like I literally just talked to Opus and it just like let it rip for the whole session, right? So like all of this conversation is like, okay, cool. And I just tell it what file it is. And so that makes it really nice, especially for like SSHing into things. So you can see kind of what, we're working with here. So what do I have here for the, okay, so how do I return back to the previous session that was running now that I'm back in the box? I forgot. And I'm going to open a new console. So new terminal. Yeah. So here I am in my Spark and summarizing chat context. Oh, it has to compress it. Okay. Anyways, this is what, this is the question I asked earlier. And it says the branch is implementing a timestamp generation feature. This uncommitted changes. Let's see. Can you do a quick code review of the changes from our plan? Okay, so I'm just gonna let it do that task there. And this is just its own agent. So this is running on my Flash, on my Spark. And over here, I don't know what's going on. Oh, it's just summarizing the chat context. Okay, so that's that. So yeah, this is me in the Spark and this is kind of what's going on. Super cool, looking forward to your dedicated stream next Saturday. Yeah, that's gonna be, I'm gonna get more into that, yeah. Obviously I have to kind of get a little bit more organized. So I can go to a flow, especially if someone's just getting started. There's a lot to kind of take in, but I also want to set up a project where I want to get the parakeet model and some other type of things set up. And then I want to get some UI set up so I can show you like how I load and unload the models easier than the command line of what I'm doing right now. And even possibly serving them easier too, so that you can serve them locally. Because that's kind of the goal here. It's like I want to be able to serve a lot of stuff locally, do some stuff, with vision and everything too. So that's kind of cool. Yeah, because this is a very powerful thing. I can send lots of jobs to it, which is perfect for like agentic coding. So as you see right now, it's basically kind of doing this thing. And this is using, it's kind of crazy that this is like all being done via local model, even if it takes forever. I can go to sleep at night and it's running some type of autonomous task, right? I think that's going to be the eventual goal when you get smarter models and stuff. And this is kind of like a first look at it, but it's really cool. It's a tiny little thing, by the way. It just sits right there in my little room there, Sarah. So yeah, there's probably more optimizations I could do, obviously, but I'm going to take a look at that a little bit later. So we'll close the SSH session for now. I'll minimize that one since it's still doing its thing for compression. And it looks like it's now done generating some UI for us. Okay, so let's take a look. Okay, so we have timestamps list. So it created the component, supports the optional timestamps on click, callback, copy all. So, okay, so for those who are just getting here, we're basically implementing the timestamps feature for Ray Transcribes. And what's nice about that is going to be that we're going to be able to, get all the stuff that we're seeing here for generating timestamps right into my app here for Ray Transcribes. And this is something that, I use to basically generate timestamps for my apps. And the reason why this is so powerful is because language models love this stuff. So that's what's it. And we've also been able to take a look at the console command. So this is something that Ian has provided from Shoutout. And so he goes by that name. He's one of my friends who works at Cursor. And this is exactly what he's doing in his workflows. And this is kind of how he's able to scrub through the code base extremely fast. And so we were able to use the console to do some code reviews and things and spin off subagents to dig around and explore. So this is a super powerful flow. All you have to do is hit install in Cursor, set it up, and by default, it's going to run 10 of them. Just run the / command and you start cooking super fast. So it's pretty straightforward, but a really cool workflow. And so I think, which branch am I in? Git tower. Am I in the right branch? Okay. Yeah, I'm in the right branch. Okay, cool. I just want to make sure. Cool. Perfect. This is what we have here. Nice. Okay. So phase 4 now. Build passes, created timestamps. Oh, have I seen Claude.bot yet? Yes, I actually have this configured inside of my Discord. Big shout outs to AJ, who was at the Vibe. I have an AI vibe check every Thursday. He told me about Claude.bot. We were doing an IRL stream last Saturday, actually right around this time. It's amazing. It's like the best personal AI assistant, and I would highly suggest everyone check it out. So it's CLAUD.bot. No, CLAWD.bot. This thing is powerful. This is probably the only agent that you need, and you can run it on your local machine. I would highly suggest you run it on a separate machine or a dedicated machine because anytime you give an AI agent access to anything, it can read some instructions on the internet and start to do really bad stuff. So yeah, that's what's up. Also, if you want to run this on a EC2 instance, that's actually what he taught me. So AJ has a popular video right now, and I'll link this up as well. So let me just go ahead and drop this link in the live stream for those who are still following along. If you've ever wanted your own AI agent to talk to you, you can send it an iMessage. You can send it through WhatsApp. You can send it through Telegram, and it will literally just, take a picture of something and say, look this up and see if it's cheaper on Amazon. And if so, like order it, whatever. That's the power you get on top of anything else you want to do. Look up, research, and everything like that. Very, very powerful. So I want to show you real quick what he did. So it's called AJ. I think it's AJ. So AJ, Tech Friend. So here's Tech Friend. And this is the video that he takes you through in less than 5 minutes, how to set it up on the AWS free tier, which is what I have set up. And this is what he showed me how to set up in the park. And so this is really amazing. So let's just take us through here. So like you'll see that all you have to do is hit launch instance here. And then so you select Ubuntu. And then once you do that, you select you type in free, you get the biggest free one that you can get there. And then from there, you just create and give it a name. And then once you do that, you're able to like basically SSH into it. And once you do that, all you do is copy that one single command line from Claude.bot that's right here. And then just walk through the setup, and it's already set up. So you have something now set up on Amazon's web services that it's available, anywhere in the world. So you can send texts and stuff like that. And then you're pretty much good to go from there on forward. So you're not going to be worried about your data deleted on your machine or anything like that. And that way, if you have a machine like a laptop and you close it, you do a request, you don't have to worry about the machine going offline. And that's probably the best way to do it. So that video here is probably what you want. It's already going viral. It's already 276,000 people who've seen it. And so I'll post this video here and make sure you check out that link there below. And those setup instructions are pretty much gold. I think he also has the video posted on YouTube, so you should definitely check it out. All right, folks, let's get back to building. Okay. So it's already ready to be integrated. So now all I have to do is call this with the job ID and the URL. Oh, this is nice. I like this type of composition. This is really great. So it's a stateful container component that handles all the timestamp generation states. Oh, this is gorgeous. Let's just do a quick code review. This is a brand new file. So we have the timestamps props for the job ID. This is great. Very Convex friendly. Load error. AI will analyze your transcript and create YouTube style chaps. Perfect. This is hot. This is so hot. And then now we have timestamps list. So when the timestamps come in, let's display the chapters and stuff. Okay. So there's going to be a time badge, and then copy all will handle the copy for which specific things? Handle copy all. Whoops. Okay. Whoops. Handle copy all will basically write to text format for copy, and it'll grab the timestamps. Okay, got it. So this is going to take this and copy that into here. Okay, perfect. Got it. Nice. Okay, that's hot. And then we have the index TS, which will basically describe the timestamps index TS. So it's going to export. Why is it doing this barrel export thing? Why this pattern? Just curious. I'm super curious. I'm going to stage the changes. Yeah, the stages change. This is a barrel export pattern. It provides cleaner imports by re-exporting modules from a single entry point. Without barrel, it would look like this. With barrel, it's import timestamp and then just one thing. Okay. I get it. That said, barrel files can cause issues like tree shaking problems. Bundlers may pull the entire barrel even if you only import one thing. Circular dependency risks, slower dev builds. For a small folder with two components that are almost always used together, the tab uses this list, it's fine. But if it grows or you notice slowdowns, want me to remove the barrel and use, why don't we just use, let's use direct for now as it is simpler and easier. Okay, I like this. So this is just like a code review, I guess you could say. Okay, done. Consumers will now import directly. Perfect. Okay, so now we've removed it. The reason why I also do the plan in phases is because we caught the model like trying to do this barrel export pattern that I don't really want. And so now we just remove the file. And then now the next step that the agent has to do is when it wants to add the specific components, when it makes this new code, it's just going to grab them directly and put them in. So it's not going to create this barrel pattern for us. So that's cool. I really like this now. Okay, this is looking pretty good. All right, so what I'm going to do now is generate this little thing here. And I think we're already in feature GT log short. We're currently in phase 3. So now we got to update our thing for phase 4 because we started to kick off phase 4. So implement phase 4. Okay. Q and then GT create AM. And then this, okay. Cool, GT sync. And then GT submit SM. Cool, so we're gonna create a new stack now. And that's gonna push out the branch. It's gonna kick off another code review and then we'll let it cook. Okay. It's doing its thing. Not a lot of changes other than just creating 2 components, which I like. Very safe. It's looking good. Okay, it's looking good. So now let's move on to our next tasks. Phase 4, add timestamps tab, auto generate timestamps, add copy because now we have that. See, the copy stuff is already in our previous component. Add a regenerate button, perfect. Add an error handler, yeah. Okay, that's phase 4. So we can do phase 4 all in one build. It'll be super fast. There's no extra code it has to write or anything like that. It's looking pretty good. I'm gonna remove this for now. Perfect. How Claude.bot is different than using Claude Code on any VPS. It's different because what Pete has done is he's made tons of components and various things a part of his app. And so instead of you like telling it to install specific things, you can just has this thing called like soul.md. So you basically give the bot a persona and it really takes that in and can remember a lot of conversation. So it's kind of like, you know how we have one terminal window to do one thing and you run out of context and you hand that off to a new terminal? Like you don't have to do those types of tasks. The Claude.bot is pretty much acting on your behalf, given the soul.md file. And so I think it's just soul.md. I'll have to double check here. So soul.md, I think, is it soul? Yeah. So this is researchers discovered that Claude Assistant could particularly reconstruct an internal document using its training. So they call it a soul document. So a soul document defines who an AI is and not what it can do. So like this is what Pete has basically incorporated. And so why it matters is human write journals, manifestos, and letters to see their future selves. We externalize who we see. AI faces this mere acuity, sessions end, context windows clear. So without external memory, each conversation starts from 0. So that's what you get when you're running Claude Code, just by itself. And so the soul document actually provides that continuity for itself. So it's not memory, but of itself. So that's kind of where this is kind of really starts to get really interesting. This is written by Claude. So the Claude's instructions. So this is from, if you haven't had a chance to follow this guy's a freaking legend right now. Like Peter Steinberger is an absolute legend. If you haven't had a chance to definitely follow him on X, he is just crushing it right now. So if you go here and check this out. Yeah, how's it going, man? It caught me live. Thank you for the compliments on the Butoshi video. Legend. legend. You have to like follow this guy. Is shipping at like he is. Yeah, like somebody said, AJ said, this is Vibe Coder's final boss. Cooking to the absolute level. Like community is growing super fast. There's a Discord community. There's a lot of people who are passionate here. People are buying computers just to run his thing, and it's for a good reason. And I think this is what Claude Cowork is like supposed to be. But obviously Anthropic has to take a much more conservative approach because they can't just let that model YOLO, because a lot of people's stuff will get destroyed sometimes, and not everyone's going to have the safeguards. So obviously you put this in developers' hands and we know how it can work, and we can take more of those precautions than now. So like, yeah, I wouldn't put my mom's stuff on this yet, and you know, all these other types of things, because you know, there's a lot of risks that someone can prompt inject or even do different things. So that's kind of what's up for that. So that's a little bit of what Clawd.bot's going on there. So think of it as a personal AI agent. It's more of akin to managing personal tasks and automations across many surfaces. There you go. Claude Code is not open source as well. Thank you for the compliments on the interview. It was a really fun interview, or really fun like live stream for us to do together. I really enjoyed that. All right, so we're almost done implementing our plan. So we have this stuff here. So where are we? So we have I also have to get up and move around because my legs are just almost frozen. I don't like sitting for a very long time. All right, so here we have transcriptions. Now we have this in here. We have the generate timestamp status. Now we have our page content section is now pulling in the transcript stuff. So for the timestamps as well. And now we have a transcript tab content, which is going to show that there. This is really nice. And then we have our timestamp preferences that are going to show up as well. So this is going to show up our loading state. And then our page for this in our a dedicated page for timestamp preferences. Sweet. Okay. Awesome. This is pretty fast. I'm going to keep all of these. These look pretty good. I'm going to try to run this now because I feel like we should be able to get everything we need from this. So that was phase 4, I think. That's all phase 4 stuff. We already created phase 4, right? So we have, yeah, this is phase 4. I'm going to check that in. Commit, sync changes. And so let me just start running this stuff. So Command D, actually, I'm going to open a new tab. New tab, bunx, Convex dev. And then I'm also going to do bundev. Okay, so we have stuff running. Let me just check this. So we should be able to test this live. Cool. Okay. So now that I have stuff here, I'm already logged in. And so now I have a timestamp section. So I could say generate timestamps. This is gonna be cool. Oh, I know why, because I don't have the key. I don't have the API key from Google. So I need the Google generative API key. So fail to load API key, pass it in the API key parameter. So yeah, so what I need to do with Convex, let's see, dashboard.convex. Cool. So we have basically the implementations live, not live, but like dashboard. And I got to make sure that the stuff works. And I think we're pretty much done. So that's pretty crazy. We shipped a whole feature during this stream. Or we're about to, I guess. Still not verified yet. And it probably has to go through more of my testing scrutiny before I push it live, but I'm just going to do that real quick. So here we are. This will show all my stuff. So in Convex, I'm just going to go to my settings, and then there's going to be a thing called environment variables. And that's kind of where I set up my environment variables. And then I think we'll have to go to Google Gemini. So I think it's gemini.google.com and get an API key. So I can go do that here, I think. Oh, no, it's AI Studio. AI Studio. So AI Studio, and then I hit get API key, and then I'm going to just create a new API key, and then I'm going to do it from the project Ray Transcribes. I'm going to say Convex dev environment, create key, and then it's going to create a key that I can't see anymore. Okay. And then over here for environment variables, I'm going to go ahead and hit add, and I'm going to paste in the Google generative AI API key, and then the Convex dev env one. I'm going to copy the key. Perfect. Right. Okay. So then go back over here, paste this one here, and I'm going to hit save. Okay. So put it now inside of the dev environment. Cool. And then I hit close. Okay, so now I'm no longer here, and now I don't have this here. So I'm going to go back to my health. Okay, so let's go back to my app here. So I now have the keys set up, so you can try again. So I'm going to say try again. So now analyzing your transcript to create the Champster markers. Cool. So now it's basically doing this, and I could check the back end here, and here it is doing the analyzing. Oh, perfect. Wow. That was pretty fast, actually. It just streamed it right in. Awesome. Cheap model. Wow. We pretty much did this in one shot. So the transcript, if I go to edit, whoops, what's going on with edit? Called by client. Okay. Okay, so I hit edit in here. Okay, so I'm gonna do a bug fix mode. Just finished phase 4 in our timestamp generation plan. And I hit the following bug. Convex. Okay. The steps to reproduce were that I went to an existing job and I hit generate timestamps, and then the timestamps generated, which was great. And then from there, I hit the edit button, and that's where I saw this error. And then this is where we're going to try to use the console /console. Use the console/console. N equals like 4 to help find the issue. Okay, so I don't think I need to launch like 10 of them, to be honest, but I think it'd be really fun to kind of see this debugging happening in firsthand. So let's go see if we can find it. So what we're doing is we're taking advantage of this new thing with the parallel agents, and we have a task that will investigate the bug fix for us. So this is going to be really cool. So it's going to read the plan. It's going to take a look at things and figure out an approach to kick off those different subagents for us. And it's going to take a look at that. I mean, it should be able to do it with an agent, to be honest, but I'm just kind of being extra right now because I think we have this error here for the validation. So obviously it's trying to edit the session, and I could already probably figure it out faster than this. The value, so Convex has a thing for returns validator. So the validator that's being called is the editing get edit session. So if I go over here, go to get edit session, who will find this faster? So we have edit session, and then we have debounce delay. So over here is where it's being called. This is the thing that we added. So this is our V object to be validated. So what else do we have? Initialize editing. So we should return, I don't think it returns in here. So that's probably the bug. Oh, okay. So let me fix these issues now. Files to fix, editing 3 places, and this is 1 place. Let me edit these files. So what it did was it added, the timestamps to the object that is supposed to come back to when we do edit session. This was coming in, this was being returned, and I think this wasn't here to be as far as one of the objects it was expecting, which is why it crashed /errored. So now we're doing internal sessions and editing. Okay, it looks pretty cool. Deprecated keep for old jobs. That's right. Okay, so now perfect. So now we're here. Nice. So now if we're here again, we go to timestamps. Wow, this is cool. This is crazy cool, actually. So I have model comparison. So this whole thing was, how long was this? 12 minutes. Nice. So we have timestamps for, okay. So we go back, we go to timestamps. Yeah, that's a really nice set of timestamps. Nice. And I go to view all. Whoops. Oh, I think my app died. I got to relaunch it. Cool. Damn, this is a nice feature. Let's go. Yo, you should now be able to generate timestamps on a transcription and then click edit without seeing the validation error. Sick. Okay, cool. Let me just save this here. That's a good bug fix. So let's just review the bug fix real quick. Internal sessions. I forgot about these two. That makes sense. Okay. I would have not thought that they would be there. Makes sense. Okay, so we fixed the bug. Okay. Sync these changes. And now we should be able to see them again. And so what I want to do is see what the upload flow looks like too. So these are 45 seconds, 12 minutes. Here's the whole thing. And then I have timestamps. This is really cool. I like seeing this. This is amazing. So cool. So I've hit edit now. It shouldn't crash out. Yeah, cool. Now if I go to all transcriptions, if I go new transcription, let's just run a new transcription through here for like my last live stream with Butoshi for like 1:44 or an hour 44. So we have, so if I go to preferences, I don't think it's in here now. So timestamp settings are now AI powered chapter markers for easy navigation. So we can turn this on. Boom. Another error, another one. So, okay, unhandled error, cool. So I went to, where did I go? Account. Okay, so I have another error. I think we're gonna load up another bug. I have another bug fix after implementing timestamps. When I go to count, route to enable this feature, I see the following error. Convex. Okay, so I give these tags around this because it's going to have a better reference to what just happened as far as like, you know, Convex being the Convex logs. And I created a new chat because I wanted to have, you know, like enough clarity for the agent to kind of take a look here. So I don't need to launch multiple agents in parallel for this type of thing because it's a really straightforward fix, to be honest. It's kind of obvious. Well, it's obvious to me, but I feel like the agent should be able to pick up on where it's obvious or not. If I do have any errors, I can always go back and say, you know, use the console to run, you know, n of 4 agents or n of 10 agents or whatever to do stuff. So, but a lot of these are really small, minor bug fixes because they just kind of missed a minor implementation detail. So yeah, I mean, this is kind of why I do some of the testing. And yeah, so now it's going to run the type check and we should have some of the stuff ready to go. Let me just retry again. So here we are. So now I should have, I think this should be syncing to my account. So if I go back into here, I go to data, I go to users. It should have the setting for my user. What is it called? Let's see. Timestamp. Create timestamps. Creation time. Okay, where is that saved? User preferences called user preferences. Get user by ID. And then what are we saving? Auto generate timestamps. So this is under user preference and under get query args, user preferences. Okay. User preferences. And in here, yeah. So for myself as this user, it's going to mark it as true. And so every user ID will basically be populated from, this is being pulled in from Clerk. So the Clerk user IDs will be here and I'll have their preferences saved here. So if I toggle this to false, and what happens in my UI is like, it will just be translated here. So I'll show you what this looks like in real time. Let me kind of make this a little bit smaller here. And so you'll see a little bit of this here. And so I'll go back to, I don't need that anymore. Okay, so if I go here, let me just kind of refresh, make sure the page is up. Okay, my app is still working. Okay, cool. So if I toggle this, you see that changed from there to false, and that changes back to true. So like this basically updates here automatically. And so if I go back to here and say false, that toggle basically switches back and forth. So the server is basically, it's kind of cool because now you have the source of truth everywhere. And so if I have like the same account logged in over here, whatever the toggle is for that run, it'll just be done. And this is how you avoid a lot of conflicts, because if you have state that's saved on the client side, so there's a couple of ways that some of these stuff works, is that you'll have basically code that lives just in the web browser, and then you have code that sits on a server. So if you send a request from your phone app or something to have something done, sometimes you can pass those preferences back up and the server can do the work for you. In this case, I'm just keeping all those settings and everything up onto the server as a source of truth. That to me makes it easier to maintain, because now I don't have to think about, you know, what if there's a setting up there that's different from the setting that's down below and whatever. You're just basically just peeking into the database. And that's kind of the way I like to design my apps now. And this is what part of the bigger reason why I like Convex is because I just have to make sure that the data and things that I need that are up there as far as preferences and stuff are saved. And then as changes and stuff are modified, we're just, handing it off to the server, and the server is kind of doing that determinism. And I don't have to write extra code that's sitting on my app on my phone to like filter that stuff out or make any extra decisions on what to display to the user. And so that way, whatever the user is seeing is literally the source of truth, because that's the source of truth from the data of where it's at. So I know it's a simple example, but it's actually very, very powerful as far as a concept for what you can do with this type of stuff. So you can kind of see here, like how they're basically syncing in real time, which is kind of insane. And so if I show you a little bit up here, right here, so it's true. So I'll scroll down. So like the data, obviously because what the way Safari works is that if a browser is in the background and you're toggling it, it's not going to update the state until like you bring it into the foreground, but like because it's doing power saving stuff, but that's a different thing. But yeah, you can kind of see how the WebSocket is doing this thing. So it's really cool. It's a kind of a cute like party trick, but there's actually a reason behind why this is such a powerful like paradigm for these types of things. So now if I have auto generate and if I just go to like upload a new transcription, if I go to like shorts, I'll do one for repo prompt. Like I have one with Eric for 3 minutes. Okay, so let's do that. I should be able to generate the timestamps now. Perfect. So this should do it super fast. So like a 3.5 minute thing, boom, super fast. So I think what I'll do is like, I don't currently have UI for this. So this is kind of like a missing feature, because in order for people to actually see the timestamps, they have to go back into here and they have to now go into here to see the actual timestamps that are generated. So I want them to be available like in that main screen that people see. So I think that's kind of what I'll do as well. So that'll be kind of an interesting one to have. But now it's in there. So we go to edit. You can now edit the like actual transcriptions here. You can edit the times for here. And then if I wanted to reprocess this for having speakers, like speaker 1 and speaker 2, I can turn that on here by going to premium and then toggling this guy on. And this will just run a reprocessing task. So it's instant, just like that. It's crazy, right? So if we want to edit the speakers, I can say, Ray's speaking number 1, and then speaker number 2 is Eric. So I do Ray, save, creates a version. And then speaker 2, basically I'm just going to have as Eric. So if I do speaker 2 here, Eric, save it. Perfect. So now like it'll have the speaker separation and they'll be called out. And as far as like broadcasting standards, every 30 seconds, they recommend you putting a speaker, if it's the same speaker, calling it back out. And then obviously whenever the speaker changes to call that out as well. So this is kind of abiding by some of that stuff. So now we have that, and you can kind of see in the time steps themselves, you'll see, when Ray is talking, they'll have the Ray tag. So it's a pretty cool thing. And then if I wanted to go back to a different version, I can always go back to my original and snap back to that. So I will go back to like no speakers or something like that. And so, yeah, super powerful stuff. It's been a really fun app to develop. And I've learned so much about, AI coding. So we have timestamps now. This is really cool. This is going to save me a lot because now I'll just auto generate timestamps every time I do a run, and I don't have to do this separate process, because typically I would go to VibeStamps, and this looks cool. Like if I give it the same repo prompt thing and I run this here, I should theoretically get the same timestamp quality as the other one. And that's going to be another check I'm going to do, because I want to make sure that the prompt adherence is pretty much the same as the other one. So I can say like, hey, I got more timestamps from the one from VibeStamps. Can you just do an additional pass to check these things? So I think that's what I'll do here as well. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to check these changes in, because now that this works, basically all we did was add creation time to our thing. Yeah. Okay, cool. Looks good. Awesome. So that looks pretty good. I got nailed 2 different bugs there. And then I'm going to say, I noticed I did a timestamp verification pass on vibestamps.com and also on my app here. And I seem to get more timestamps from VibeStamps. Use ref as I have the, let me go here. So I'll give it the repo. VibeStamps. Okay. Let's see. The repo available in the MCP and use exa code MCP to take a look. I want you to use, so this is where I'm going to use the new like parallel agents to help me with this investigation, because there's a lot of different pieces of code that it touches. And I kind of want these different agents to do the thing. So I'm going to do the console n equals like 15 to take a look at our implementation code settings to make sure it matches VibeStamps prompt and settings. Okay. Our settings. Okay. Sometimes do we have the same default token? Okay. All right. And I believe I'm using the, okay, so cool. You can also use exa code MCP. Okay, take a look. So I'm letting the agent go do its thing for this research task, and it's going to use the new parallel agents here and use that new thing that Ian kind of gave us for the console. It's going to be really cool. So now let me read the MCP tool descriptors. So now it's reading through the MCP tool calls. And so this is going to be a really nice task. So here we go. So now I'm going to read the use ref to read my actual timestamps thing. Something I have internally already indexed as well. So Livestream needs an AI that can summarize what happened so far so people can. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make a dedicated Claude.bot that you can do and like invoke in the chat to do that type of conversation. Because that's what I want. Like I want it to get some of the like files and, you know, whatever the audio that's been happening so far. And then kind of make these auto chapters as it goes. Because that'd be really cool. There's no reason why I can't, you know what I mean? So I think that would be really cool for those folks who are trying to catch up and see what's happened so far. So yeah. All right. So we're doing these types of things. I don't know if I told it to use parallel agents, but I think it will be. So now I have a clear picture of both. So let me spawn 15 agents to thoroughly investigate and compare every aspect of the timestamp generation. Bro, I think it low-key might be overkill though. Yeah. I agree about this this task. This is a good idea. Actually, I might even have it like on a website, like raylivestream.com or something like that, or ray1327, .live, which would be fire. So I don't even know what's going on right now. So timestamp prompt strategy comparison. So it's already writing out the comparison file. Dang. Wow. Okay. Formula 1 timestamp per 2 minutes. Wow. So like the different subagents are already writing out files. This is crazy. What? Bro, this thing's going to work. It's going to work. Hey. Wow. Bro. Gold standard. Whoa. Yeah. Yeah, so there's a bunch of code that's missing that it didn't grab, but now it's actually seeing it because it's doing the comparison. So this is insane. Actually, this is really, really good. Wow. I'm glad I did this task, to be honest. This is crazy. It's actually crazy good. Because I put a lot of detail into VibeStamps to make sure it can have these timestamps that are really accurate. And there's like extra prompts and other like certain phases. Because I basically am able to understand how long actual transcript is for certain things, and kind of progressively roll them into generating the timestamps. It's kind of, I don't know, maybe over-engineered, but I feel like it's so consistent. It works extremely well, especially in these deterministic types of things. Setting thinking budget would reduce, only saves. Yeah. Damn, this is really good. Wow. So what's going on? So as far as what's going on, I basically had to do a research task because I'm having timestamps generated, and I used to have this like big mega prompt, which involves a lot of steps, which would extract like how long the timestamps are, like what specific parts of the timestamp should be evaluated, how long should the timestamps be, and like, spaces between timestamps. And this is something that I've done over many versions. So I've basically had this massive It used to just be one big prompt. And so I turned that into an app and I put that into VibeStamps.com. And it's actually one of the most accurate ways of getting timestamps. And the timestamps are SEO friendly so that they get picked up by these AI language models. And like it's gold, it's out there for free. It's like open source, so you can grab it and do exactly what I'm doing. And so I noticed in the first time that I pull that VibeStamps thing into my Ray Transcribes app, it's not able to actually, it didn't pull everything in, right? So there are additional attention to detail that we need. So what I did, I was like, hey, there's something new I learned. So with the new cursor update, there's this thing called a console. And so this is something that Ian talked about that he created, that he uses internally pretty much all the time. Teach me how auth works. Can you make sure this plan works? I'm tired, please debug. And so the n equals, he'll launch 25 agents to go take a look and like debug something. And so he'll spin off 10 of them by default to just dig around and explore. And so we're taking advantage of that. So he created this thing here on his website, and I'll paste this in right now. So this is crazy. You're on your bike. Oh my God, that's so crazy. Okay, thanks for the update. So if you click that link, this will take you to his site. And this cursor resource is something he made. So you can basically hit install on cursor. This will make it as a slash command. And that's the slash command that we use to do this investigation. So I told it to go, about what's kind of going on with my problem in a fresh new chat. And so we kicked off 15 of them because I said, I'm a little tired. But you can kind of see what it did. So it went to work to find out where all the stuff was, and then kicked off 15 different agents. And they all did a whole ton of work to analyze everything and take a look at a lot of detail as far as like what the differences were. And all this, like, see, like it was missing some of this stuff. This is actually in my prompt inside of VibeStamps, and this is something I didn't see in my current repo. And so this is actually kind of what it did to do that research. Now that we get that all back, you only see we've only used 67,000 tokens, and that keeps our context window super fresh. All that research happened in these different windows. I didn't have to open up new chats and kind of waste a lot of my mental energy kind of keeping track of those and trying to pull the research back together. So that's such a powerful paradigm in this new workflow with Cursor 2.4 that I don't think a lot of people really realize yet. And we're pretty much right here on the forefront. So if you're watching this right now and you're using Cursor, like subagents are really powerful, and that's a task that you can hand off and it keeps your context window clear. Yes, Claude Code and these other ones have having it, but Cursor is basically has their own implementation. Obviously, it's extendable to do these other things. One of the things that Cursor has, and as similar to what other types of coding models may not have, like Claude Code, is that Cursor has access to different models as well. So besides their own models like Composer, they give you access to Anthropic's model, GPT models, like you may know. But this is a really powerful paradigm because now you combine this with question and answer mode. You combine this with other agents and different types of commands. You can start to stack these together in a really nice way that is just super fast. I like that we leverage the Composer models, by the way, for these researches. So we click one of these, we can actually see the chat window. So this is a separate chat window. This uses Composer to run, and you can see what Composer is doing. So Composer is doing all this stuff and looking up all this information on our behalf. And you can kind of see how this kind of really compounds. So I like this workflow. It's really, really cool. So the cap problem. So your app has a hard cap of 20 timestamps, while VibeStamps has no hard cap, and it uses content density guidance instead. So this is exactly what I wanted, right? So for a 2-hour video, you cap at 20, while VibeStamps could generate 40 plus. And it's missing a full coverage instruction. So your prompt doesn't explicitly tell the AI to cover the entire transcript, while VibeStamps includes critical requirements. So this is exactly what we're missing. So there's no gold standard example and simpler prompt missing moment types. So this is exactly what we're looking for. So these are instructions that I have put into VibeStamps for free, available open source. And this is what was missing. I was like, there's some stuff that's missing. I actually tell the language model in grabbing timestamps to look for very specific things that can help not only you, but it also helps the language model grab these things. So I describe them in my prompting through like a hook, like feature demonstrations, any pro tips, like any aha moments, community moments as well. And that's described in my prompting. And that's how good that Gemini is. Like Gemini knows to extract that from those SRT files. So it also truncates the SRT content at 100K characters. Oh no. So however, the agents found Flash is sufficient for this task. So we're going to basically expected combined impact. So Would you like me to implement these changes and start with the highest impact, moving to the hard cap? Why can't we implement, implement all of them as it should be a simple prompt? It should be, as this is a prompt system that is the gold standard. And I'm going to go back to, I'm going to put this in plan mode because this is like getting to the territory where like, I feel like now that we have all this information, we need to make sure that the agent who implements it, the reason, so I'm taking this chat and I'm going to switch it into plan mode. So plan mode will allow us that space to kind of make sure we have more verifiable information. And this is pretty common when you're building software, by the way. Don't be afraid and don't blame the agent for not implementing everything. It's just that you discover more stuff. This happens in professional environments. People who are paid like millions of dollars that you work with, and they're in charge of implementing a feature. Yes, they implement it just like it is. And then the QA team or someone goes to use the software, or the customer uses the software and they say, whatever happened to this? And they're just like, oh yeah, we forgot about that requirement. Or that's something new we didn't realize that you can do now because this new feature has now unlocked this. So this is just part of the development process, and that's how you can kind of understand that you're on the right track. And now it's just kind of refining and testing to make sure you have the right output. And it's really good to get clear again and just go back into plan mode here and generate a new plan. So implement, okay, so then I'm just going to go ahead and put it back into plan and go ahead and go. So we're still in Opus. It has like 14 different files it created. I'm going to probably remove most of them, but those will be good for its reference later on. So I'll create a precise implementation plan. This is going to be great. Hey guys, how's it going, man? We are cooking. 2 hours in, 1 hour to go. Your live streams help pass the time. That's so cool, man. Where are you at, actually? Are you on a plane or something? Oh, you're riding a bike on Zwift Productivity Plus. What is Zwift Productivity Plus? Is this like an ad? Productivity Plus? Let's see. Zwift Productivity. Oh. It refers to updates bike. Bike. I don't know what this is. Ride. Oh, this is cool. Oh my gosh, bro, this is fancy. I didn't know you get down like this, bro. Oh my God. How can I get one of these? Okay, this thing is fire, bro. How can I get this bike? I got you got a Tron bike? You're telling me you got a Tron bike right now, bro? My guy. You're cooking with this right now, bro. Yo, Jason, like, where are you based out of? Like, I want to know. This guy has a Tron bike. This is crazy. Oh, this is gorgeous. This is absolutely stunning. Oh my goodness, bro. My guy got the Tron bike. I want a Zwift. Yes. Oh, wow. This is crazy. Zwift is the app. I am productive. Okay. I thought that you literally had the bike, bro. Like, this is the Tron bike. Virtual riding platform, mate. I'm in Japan. Oh, that's what's up, man. That's what's up. Oh, okay. I want this bike now. How do I get this bike? Bro, I want the Tron bike. That's a fire bike. Okay. I'm so distracted. Are you writing vibe coding while watching Ray? Of course, bro. That's the only way. That's the only way. We got to do it right now. Okay. So now I see I have my plan. So view the plan. Okay. Let's take a look. This is our plan. Let's take a look at these changes. So we have hard cap, content density, SRT, explicit model, no retry logic, basic example only. Okay. I see a lot of files were created in our branch that haven't been checked in. We don't want to check them in. So we should grab the research we need and update the plan, or then remove them. Okay. I think, oh, it does. Yeah, these are really good. After the current basic example, long content example, 1 hour. This is pretty good. Yeah, this is looking really good. I like this plan a lot. Remove hard cap. Yeah. That's cool. You have to climb 20 kilometers or virtually to get the Tron bike. Bro, no way. Oh man, I want to get back into climbing. I have a road bike that's super light. I have a Trek Lamani. It's my favorite bike. Yeah. It's all black, super carbon fiber light. Amazing. Amazing. So yeah. But I want the Tron bike, bro. I want the Tron bike so bad. So I've extracted the key insights from the research. Now let me update the plan with the detailed implementation specifics that we can delete these files. Perfect. I love this. Damn, this is awesome. Clean up, delete research files. Get diff add 100. Okay, cool. So this is looking pretty good. And then we should be able to delete a whole bunch of files. I see the agents have already made partial changes, adding types and movements. The plan is now updated with the detailed thing. Files to modify, files to delete. Research files not to be committed. 13 marked out files will be, okay, ready to proceed. Let's remove the files we don't need. Okay. Okay. Watch this just delete on my whole hard drive. delete, delete, delete. It's like, brrr. Stream was over, guys. The whole thing died. That'll be a massive troll. Yeah. Okay. Get status short. Awesome. This is looking pretty good. Clean. Only the remains modified. One agent had already added 8 movement types. Okay. Is that the right change or should we just... Okay. Wow. Whoa. Okay. This is looking pretty good. Output format. Yeah, this looks fire. Okay. So is that the right change or should we revert that and put the details in the plan? I don't want to confuse the future engineers who work on the plan if it is no longer relevant. Okay. So I'm basically just trying to clean up the state of everything just to make sure we have everything we need before we move forward. Because an agent did get a little trigger happy and wanted to write some changes, and that's kind of where we're at right now. I just wanted to pop in and say that your channel is fire. And I'm super excited about what you've been building. Hey, SpacetimeDB. For those who don't know, thank you so much for the support, by the way. I absolutely love SpacetimeDB. And these are the folks, somebody suggested it on live stream. And this is what I've used to build my soccer game. For those who are wondering, if you go to yeeball.com, the only reason why I was able to vibe code this whole thing in 12 days was because of these guys. So SpacetimeDB, I wish this was a sponsored spot because that'd be hilarious. But like, I can play a multiplayer soccer game live, backend written in Rust. These guys cook. SpacetimeDB.com. Check this out. So if you want to make a game, I would highly, highly, highly suggest just start with their framework. You can have a lot of fun playing around with their framework because agents will know them. You can point the agents at them. The backend will be done in Rust, so you don't have to write this extra code. And you just have to worry about, I want a player to do this and do these types of updates. And I show the different folks how you can do these things. So like you can see these games, like you just pick a framework that you want, like some type of 3D framework that's really fire. And it's literally it's like the Convex, but for games. You know what I mean? So Convex does that real time, just like I was showing you with those toggles. But Spacetime will just do this literally just for games. And they have a game, I think they're running called Bitcraft that runs on this. I ran my Yeeball through it. That's how the soccer ball updates everywhere and everyone's screens in real time, all the players and all the characteristics. It's really, really awesome. Fantastic, fantastic stuff. I've enjoyed building with it. It was actually really easy to kind of get up and running. And then you can also set up hooks with this inside of Cursor. So when it builds, your front end will know the types that are available. So you can do the Rust quick start guide. It shouldn't really take you that long to get set up with this. Just point an agent at this and you can start really cooking. So I really like their stuff. This is really cool. It's so cool to see you guys on the stream. And I think you guys really saved me because I was like, I'm not ready to write all this crazy ass game code. I've never wrote a game in my life. And that was a really fun game to get started. And I feel like the reason why I was able to get that far was literally because of Spacetime. So huge shout out to you guys as well. So big shouts. I do have, let's see, SpacetimeDB. Yeah. So yeah, they have some special sauce that they do. So it basically makes it feel like real time. Check on the Discord for my exercise setup. Okay, cool. I'll check that out. Convex for games. That's the best way to explain it right now. It's the Convex for games. Cannot go wrong. Fun fact, we benchmark Convex worth 1,000x faster. Oh, bro. Shots fired. Let's go. I might have to convert my backend. I think the only thing, do you guys have the, on Convex, I can do an action, right? So that's kind of what I'm using right now to go to my backend and go call a function. Oh, my friends are here. I got to head out. Credits. Yo, SpacetimeDB, I think they already have some generous stuff to get started with. But yeah, I would love to partner with you guys, Spacetime, to get some credits for the community, because I'd love for us to do more build outs and more like fun games and stuff that we can kind of play around with, because I think this would be really, really cool. Yeah, Convex for the win. I actually have to head on out, by the way. I want to see this feature kind of come through. So be sure to check out Ray Transcribes if you haven't had a chance to get signed up. I'm going to ship that little timestamps feature, so that way we can check that off the box, and I'll have to do some updates down here. If you need a trial for the 7 days, I actually do have a trial if you want to check it out. So go ahead and check this out here. I'm going to go ahead and copy this text down below so that you can kind of check this out yourself. And so that way you can start to kind of click that link below. I think I only have 20 spots for the trial, so that'll get you 7 days. You know, $20 worth of credits, basically you can use in 7 days for my app, and I will be shipping that thing. I'll be looking forward to everyone's feedback. If you want to try Yeeball, you can go to yeeball.com and start a match and play with some friends. SpacetimeDB, those folks, you know, huge shout outs. I can't wait to build with more. Hopefully we can do some type of partnership and get some people some credits as well. This is pop into our Discord. Let's go. Also, we've got to check out the cursor stuff that's been going on here. There's a lot of cool stuff going on with subagents that we got to check out, and I'm going to try to finish shipping this feature probably tomorrow night. I'll be doing some traveling as well. So for those who are wondering, I have a stream schedule set up now. So every Thursday, I'll be streaming every night on Thursday, like around 5 p.m. I have a thing called Vibe Check. So I'm going to do an event in person every single week on Thursday. So whether it's here, whether it's Hawaii, whether it's anywhere in the world, let me know where y'all from, and then we'll fly out and kind of make that happen. So if someone has a venue, if someone has some food, I can just show up and we'll pull up and just try to get people set up with like a Luma event, and we just kind of do that thing. I kicked off my first Vibe Check with Riley Brown. Got some folks like Wayne from Convex and all of the stuff, folks in the house. It's been really cool. So I want to turn that meetup into like a real thing where we can actually build live and actually do live stream, like a straight up live stream. So definitely check that out every Thursday. And then I plan to stream on Saturdays and Sundays. So this Sunday I'm out because I'm doing some traveling, but Saturdays and Sundays I'll be streaming with you live every single weekend. So that way I'll be able to hang with you. And then if there's some news or something that pops off during the week, we're going to be doing that type of stuff as well. But yeah, expect Thursdays, Saturdays, and Sundays going on forward. It's going to be my streaming schedule so that we can kind of do some things. I'll be posting some updates everywhere else because this is kind of a new movement. I appreciate everyone who's been able to join in the stream, like and share. We've come a long ways, and I'm so excited to build with this type of stuff. And we got a whole bunch more stuff coming. So yeah, Thursdays, Saturdays, and Sundays, I'm going to post a new stream schedule. I'm going to have a new website, and I also have the AI Vibe Check thing every Thursday. Make sure you check that out as well. And I will see you guys on the next stream, y'all. Peace out.